Chapter 3167. No matter who it is, if he dares to stop me from comprehending the laws, I will destroy him. Mountain of Laws? Longao was surprised. Of course, he knew what the so-called Mountain of Laws was. The Mountain of Laws was a mysterious thing in the Chaos realm. It would choose a different place to descend every time. Not everyone could enter the Mountain of Laws. Warriors below the Chaos realm were not allowed to enter the Mountain of Laws. Otherwise, if they tried to force their way in, they would be killed by the Mountain of Laws. As for those above the Chaos realm, they were similarly restricted by the Mountain of Laws. Hence, they were unable to enter the Mountain of Laws. In other words, if one wanted to enter the Mountain of Laws, only martial artists comprehending the Tao of primal chaos and martial artists gathered at the peak of primal chaos could enter. Longao had never thought that this time, the Rule Law Mountain would appear within the Dragon Clan. Coincidence? Intuition told Longao that the Mountain of Laws would suddenly descend in the Dragon Clan. Tens of thousands of Chaos Realm warriors and hundreds of Chaos Realm warriors were rushing towards the Dragon Clan. Without a doubt, everyone was heading towards the Dragon Clan to enter the Mountain of Laws to comprehend the laws. Once they succeeded in comprehending the laws, there was no doubt that they would be able to advance to become a Chaos Realm warrior. We are one step ahead. I heard that Chaos Realm warriors from other heavens are rushing over. And I also heard that, if there are no accidents, the number of people coming to the Dragon Clan to enter the Mountain of Laws would reach a terrifying number. Listening to the discussions around him, Longao knew that the Mountain of Laws would not appear once in 1,000 years. Those Chaos Realm warriors who heard the news would definitely rush over. The Chaos Realm had a total of 99 heavens. Among the countless warriors, there would definitely be many Chaos Realm warriors. Longao did not care. No matter how many people came, it had nothing to do with him. Since he was here, if he did not enter the Mountain of Laws, he would be letting himself down. If he missed the opportunity, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Following the large group, they headed towards the Dragon Clan. A few minutes later, the Dragon Clan had a vast territory. Where would the Mountain of Laws descend in the Dragon Clan? No one knew. Everyone was waiting. The Mountain of Laws was boundless. Hence, there was no such thing as occupying it. When will the Mountain of Laws descend? Who knows? I even suspect that the legend of the Mountain of Laws descending is not true. Could it be fake? Legend? Hearing the discussions around him, Longao felt extremely helpless. It turned out that they had heard of the legend. F***ck, if that was the case, it was really unknown whether the Law Mountain would really descend or not. What a waste of his time. Longao was very curious. He didn't know who had spread the rumor that someone would actually believe it. It was fine if one or two of them believed him. But now? Not just one or two, but tens of thousands of warriors in the primal chaos believed it at the same time. Not only that. According to the people around him, the chaotic martial artists from the other heavens were all rushing towards the Dragon Clan. It was a little strange. How could an ordinary rumor attract so many warriors of the chaos? What was going on? It would be a lie to say that there was nothing fishy about it. Longao did not ask any random person. There was no need for him to reveal his identity. Instead, he asked the lone warrior of chaos. "Brother, I have something to ask you." Lang Qing was very cautious. But seeing that the other party was just a chaos martial artist, he heaved a sigh of relief. He was already a third Dao martial artist. Facing a second Dao martial artist, he should be fine. "My name is Lang Qing. I don't know what this brother wants. As long as I know, I will tell you everything I know." Longao had a good impression of this Lang Qing. He did not look down on others just because he was a third Dao martial artist. "My name is Black Wolf. I don't know who spread the rumor of the Dragon Clan descending in the Mountain of Laws." Longao was very clear that his name had already spread throughout the Chaos world. Even if no one recognized him, they would have heard of his name. If it was leaked out, it would not be good. I don't know. You don't know? Longao of course would not doubt the other party's words. This matter was a little strange. Brother Black Wolf, to be honest, I also feel that this matter is a little strange. There was a rumor that the Dragon Clan would suddenly descend in the Mountain of Laws. No one has seen it before. But the temptation of the Mountain of Laws is too great. Plus, the Mountain of Laws will indeed appear in the next few years. So many chaos martial artists chose to believe it, including me. So that was the case. If that was the case, whether the Mountain of Laws would really descend was really an unknown. Brother Lang Qing, since you know that this is very likely a rumor, why did you still come? What if this is a trap? Speaking up to here, Longao did not continue speaking, but the meaning in his words was already very clear. How could Lang Qing not know the meaning of the other party's words? He sighed helplessly and said, "It has been tens of thousands of years since I broke through to the 3-Daos realm. If there are no accidents, with my talent, not to mention comprehending the laws, I don't even know if I can succeed in reaching the 3-Daos realm. Regardless of whether the Mountain of Laws descends or not, I still want to try my luck. If my luck is good and the Mountain of Laws descends, I can enter the Mountain of Laws to comprehend the laws." Longao understood Lang Qing's feelings very well. If it was him, he would definitely be the same. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He did not know why, but Longao had a bad premonition in his heart. The descent of the Mountain of Laws was a little strange, especially since no one knew who spread the rumor. "Brother Lang Qing, if you believe me, then leave this place quickly." "Why?" Lang Qing was very curious. Taking a step back, even if this matter was fake and the Mountain of Laws did not descend, it was not a big deal for him. He could just retreat. There was no need to leave at this time. Looking at the expression on Lang Qing's face, Longao already knew what the other party was thinking. He had already reminded him. As for whether the other party would listen or not, that was his problem. It had nothing to do with him. "Brother Lang Qing, I will take my leave first." Longao left as soon as he said so. He did not want to stay any longer. Who knew what was going on? It was better to be safe than sorry. If an accident happened, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Seeing the other party leave and disappear in the blink of an eye, Lang Qing was completely confused. No matter what, the other party was still a second Daos realm cultivator. Since he was here, what if the Mountain of Laws really descended on the Dragon Clan? After all, no one knew whether this matter was true or false, so it was better to try his luck. Since he was already here, if he left now, he would be letting himself down. Chapter 3168. Not to mention Lang Qing. Even Little Black and the others could not figure out what was going on with their boss. The Mountain of Rules was an opportunity that could only be chanced upon. Now that they had come across it, they should make good use of it. But in the end, even if their boss was curious, since they already knew about it, they should wait and see if the Mountain of Rules would truly descend. As for the thoughts of Little Black and the others, how could Longao not know about it? I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling about this. There must be something fishy going on with the descent of the Mountain of Rules this time around. Boss, you mean to say that someone wants to make use of the rumors of the Mountain of Rules to deal with the incoming chaos martial artists? He shook his head. I don't know. Indeed, he did not know. As for what was going on, Longao did not know either. However, he believed in his own guesses. Looking at how serious their boss's face was, Little Black and the others did not continue asking even if they were curious. A month later, because of the Mountain of Rules, the dragon race had gathered all 99 heaven regions of the Chaos world. There were approximately 10,000 Chaos martial artists. Of which, just the Chaos gathering martial artists alone numbered at 2,000. What sort of a concept was this? Everyone gathered at the dragon race and waited in anticipation. With the descent of the Mountain of Rules, those lucky Chaos martial artists might be able to comprehend the Chaos laws and evolve into Chaos laws martial artists. But in the end, After waiting for several months, there was still no sign of the mountain of rules descending. If one were to say that they were not suspicious, they would be lying. But knowing was one thing. Truly encountering it was another. Even if everyone had guessed that the mountain of rules might be a farce, no one was willing to leave just like that. What sort of joke was this? As the saying went, it was better to be safe than sorry. If they were unlucky and the mountain of rules descended the moment they left the dragon race, they could imagine what would happen then. That was the case. No one was willing to leave just like that, even if it was just for a few more days. To chaos martial artists, time was nothing. Boom, 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 boom. Just at this moment, the entire dragon race began to tremble violently. Just as all the chaos martial artists were in shock, the situation changed. A horrifying power descended and covered the entire dragon race. No matter who it was, they were all covered in it instantly. No one could escape. What sort of a concept was this? Hurry and leave. F***ck, this is a trap. We've been fooled. Everyone, let's attack together. The combined attack of tens of thousands of chaotic martial artists was extremely powerful. Even so, he was still unable to break through the aura shield. Everyone was completely stunned. They finally understood what had happened, but it was too late for regrets. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. Among the crowd, Lang Qing's face was extremely gloomy. Previously, he thought that Black Wolf had done it on purpose. But now that he thought about it, it was obvious that Black Wolf knew something. It was just that he had been suspicious of Black Wolf and didn't take his words to heart. If he had listened to Black Wolf's words and left first, he wouldn't have been trapped. What should he do? More than 2,000 chaotic martial Dao warriors led the remaining 8,000 chaotic martial Dao warriors in a frenzy. No one was willing to give up without knowing what was going on. Boss, that is indeed the case. Although Longao was in the chaotic Dantian, he was very clear about what was happening outside. Chaotic reincarnation martial artist. In just an instant, Longao had clearly sensed that the aura that shrouded everyone was a chaotic Luan Lake martial artist. It was just that this martial artist was severely injured. But even so, the deterrence of a chaotic reincarnation martial artist was still there. Chaos Dao Enlightenment and Chaos Gathering were nothing. Boss, what is this person trying to do? Shaking his head, Longao was also very curious. He didn't know what a severely injured chaotic reincarnation martial artist was trying to do. At this point, he could only wait and see. After the terrifying aura of the Dragon Clan enveloped the tens of thousands of chaotic martial artists, it began to strangle them wildly. Ah! Miserable screams rang out one after another. Not to mention the martial artists comprehending the Chaos Dao, even the Chaos Convergence martial artists could not resist. In just a few short hours, 80% of the 10,000 martial artists had died. Lang Qing was terrified to the extreme. However, it was almost impossible for him to leave now. Kacha. Resisting the aura of the Dragon Clan, Lang Qing was almost regretting to the extreme. If he had listened to Black Wolf's advice and left here, he wouldn't have died here. He had tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. He thought that he could enter the mountain of law to cultivate, but he never thought that not only did he not wait for the mountain of law to descend, he even paid with his life. Who is it? Come out, come out. The remaining chaotic martial artists were completely terrified. Looking at the corpses piled up like mountains around them, even the chaotic martial artists almost collapsed. These were genuine chaotic martial artists. 7,000 to 8,000 chaotic martial artists had died in just a few hours. Chaotic martial artists were cabbages that could be found on the street. There were as many of them as there were in the entire chaotic domain. And the result? They didn't even know who the other party was. They were all killed in a daze. So what if they were frightened? The other party didn't show up at all. The more it was like this, the more frightened they were. The more mysterious something was, the more terrifying it was. However, they weren't fools. To be able to do such a thing, the person should be at least a chaotic domain martial artist. He might even be a chaotic life and death martial artist. As for what level he was at, it was unknown. Now that things had reached this point, everyone had already guessed that there was no such thing as a law mountain at all. Everything was just a fabrication. It was obvious that someone wanted to gather all of them together so that they could catch all of them in one fell swoop. As for the purpose of the other party, only this person knew. One after another, chaotic martial artists died. On the second day, more than 10,000 chaotic martial artists had all died. At this time, in the void of the ninth heaven, a burst of laughter resounded. The laughter resounded through the clouds. Subsequently, a figure appeared in the void of the ninth heaven of the Dragon Clan. Looking at the corpses piled up like mountains below, the man smiled and said to himself, "You can only blame yourselves for being stupid. The mountain of law is ethereal. Even I can't lock onto it." If they couldn't resist the temptation, they had to be prepared to pay the price at any time. However, no one who came to the Dragon Clan would have thought that they would be killed for no reason when they came to look for the mountain of law. If they had known, they wouldn't have come even if they were beaten to death. Chapter 3169. Duan Hun? Longao was deeply shocked when he sensed the aura released by the chaotic reincarnation realm warriors outside. He would never have thought that the person who spread the rumor was none other than Duan Hun. Longao was familiar with Duan Hun. He was neither a friend nor an enemy. He was neither an enemy nor a friend. "Boss, what should we do now?" "I'll go out and take a look." "Huh?" Blackie and the rest were dumbfounded when they heard that their boss wanted to go out. There was no need to mention Broken Soul's strength. Even if he was severely injured, Broken Soul's strength was still there. Not to mention the Chaos Dao, even the Chaos Domain wouldn't be a match for Broken Soul. This was the horror of Duan Hun. "Boss, what if Duan Hun wants to deal with you? What should we do then?" "It's okay." Longao left his chaotic dantian and came to the ninth heaven void. "Longao?" Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Duan Hun seemed to be very surprised. He also didn't expect Longao to appear at this time. "Duan Hun, what do you mean by this?" Duan Hun was both good and evil. He did everything based on his heart. Longao didn't know what Duan Hun meant or why he suddenly wanted to kill these chaotic reincarnation realm warriors. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He wouldn't believe that there was nothing fishy about it. "Longao, congratulations on breaking through the chaotic Dao realm. However, you're still a second Dao warrior. Your cultivation speed is a little slow. You have to remember the agreement between you and me." It was precisely because of this agreement that Longao wasn't worried at all. He was almost certain that Duan Hun wouldn't deal with him. Longao didn't say anything. He had never doubted his cultivation speed. If it weren't for the hindrance of the chaotic sacred body, he might have already broken through the chaotic domain. However, Longao didn't give up at all. The chaotic sacred body would indeed hinder his cultivation speed. But the result? There were good and bad results. The chaotic sacred body would definitely help him succeed in the future. After all, it was called the number one sacred body in the chaotic realm. "Longao, I believe you've also felt that I was severely injured because of something back then." He nodded. How could Longao not know about this? Ever since his origin soul awakened and he saw Duan Hun, he could sense that Duan Hun was heavily injured. Being heavily injured and awakening one's primordial spirit through reincarnation were two different things. The success of the reincarnation awakening depended on luck. Among the Samsara chaotic martial artists that Longao knew, there were no Samsara awakened martial artists who had truly fallen. As for severely injured martial artists, they could slowly recover. Could it be? He seemed to have guessed something. After 10,000 years, the great Tao of chaos will be reshuffled. Reincarnation Chaos Warriors who can't prove the Great Tao of Chaos will definitely be obliterated by the Great Tao of Chaos. If I can't return to my peak, won't I lose my last chance? Longao still didn't speak. He just listened quietly. Of course, he knew that the Great Tao of Chaos would be reshuffled after 10,000 years. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in such a hurry to return to his peak within 10,000 years. Not being able to prove one's Tao meant that one would be destroyed. One would not even have the chance to reincarnate. Longao finally understood Duan Hun's intention, but it seemed to be a little too much. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Duan Hun said solemnly, "Longao, you and I are both primal chaos reincarnation. You should know that those who are under reincarnation are ants. In fact, those who are under the Great Tao are ants. Even you and I, in front of the Great Tao of Chaos, are also ants that can be slaughtered. Those under reincarnation are ants. Actually, those under the Great Tao are ants. Even you and I are ants in front of the Great Tao of Chaos." Listening to Duan Hun's words, Longao sighed deeply in his heart. Of course, he knew that the so-called those under reincarnation are ants was just ignorant. Everyone knew that the Samsara chaotic martial artists were the strongest in the chaos. However, only they knew that the true peak wasn't the chaotic reincarnation, but the so-called Great Tao of Chaos. However, looking at the entire chaotic realm, how many people could successfully prove one's Tao? How could the Great Tao of Chaos allow someone to succeed in proving one's Tao? It was almost impossible. Those under the Great Tao of Chaos are ants. That was right. If one couldn't prove one's Tao, so what if one could break through the chaotic reincarnation? One still couldn't become immortal. The end result was either reincarnation or death. The more he thought about it, the more helpless he felt. If one wanted to be truly immortal, one had to succeed in proving one's Tao. That was the path that the chaotic martial artists had to take. You want to use the power of these chaotic martial artists to recover from your injuries? No, I believe you know the injuries I suffered back then. The power of tens of thousands of chaotic martial artists won't be able to help me recover. Then why? Longao was very curious. He didn't know what Duan Hun wanted to do. Longao, I have been calculating for so many years. Finally, I found a shocking mystery. What is it? The way to prove one's Tao. The way to prove one's Tao? Longao was shocked. Of course, he knew what Duan Hun meant. For countless years, countless chaotic martial artists wanted to prove one's Tao, but it was very difficult for anyone to succeed. Could Duan Hun have really found a way to prove one's Tao? Brother Long, have you heard of the Chaos Seed? I have. Not only had he heard of it, but Longao had also seen it with his own eyes. There was a Chaos Seed in Sister Lin's body. He said, "Duan Hun, you should know that even with the Chaos Seed, one might not be able to prove one's Tao." How could Duan Hun not know about this? However, he smiled and said, "The Primal Chaos Seed is our greatest hope. Back then, you created the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos technique, but you were still unable to successfully prove your Tao. Therefore, if we are able to obtain the Primal Chaos Seed 10,000 years later, our chances of proving our Tao will be greater." How could Longao not know what Duan Hun was talking about? Do you know where the Chaos Seed is? No one knew how many Chaos Seeds there were. Although he didn't know why the Chaos Seed chose Sister Lin, he didn't know whether it was good or bad. However, it meant that the Chaos Seed would automatically choose its own master. Duan Hun could guess what Longao was thinking. He said, "Brother Long, do you know how the Chaos Seed is produced?" No. Longao had already guessed that Duan Hun must know how the Chaos Seed was produced. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that. He also wanted to know how the Chaos Seed in the Chaos Realm came about. The most likely explanation was that the Chaos Seed was born from the Chaos Realm itself. Longao believed in this explanation very much. He couldn't think of a second possibility. Chapter 3170. Neither of them cared about the tens of thousands of corpses on the ground. They sat on the ground. After so many years of investigation, I finally found out that the chaos seed was left behind after the fall of a Tao affirmation cultivator. Huh. Hearing Duan Hun's words, Longao was completely stunned. Of course, he knew what Duan Hun meant. Is this true? How is this possible? After Tao affirmation, one can truly fight to the death. If that's the case, why would Tao affirmation cultivators die? As if he had already guessed that Longao would be like this, Duan Hun sighed deeply and said helplessly, "Now you should know that even if one has Tao affirmation, they are not immortal. It can be said that no matter who it is, they can't be immortal." You found the chaos seed? He nodded. For countless years in the chaos realm, although 99% of the people failed to prove their Tao, there were still some geniuses who succeeded in proving their Tao. After they perished, they would turn into chaos seeds. They would either find a reincarnation body or automatically choose a fated person. His heart skipped a beat. Sister Lin had already obtained the chaos seed. Then there was a problem. Was Sister Lin reincarnated or a fated person? He didn't know how much of an impact this matter had on Longao. Longao, if I'm not wrong, you should have comprehended 2 other Taos. I want to ask, what Tao did you comprehend? The Tao of Dragon and the Tao of Massacre. Longao didn't hide anything. Since Duan Hun had told him such things, it meant that he temporarily treated him as a friend. As for the 2 Taos that he had comprehended, Longao was very satisfied. As for the 3rd Tao, he hadn't figured it out yet. He nodded. Without any surprise, Duan Hun said, "What is the 3rd Tao that you intend to comprehend?" Longao was curious, not knowing why Duan Hun was so concerned about the Tao that he comprehended. He shook his head and said, "I haven't thought about it yet. Brother Long, I have a suggestion, but I don't know if it's worth it." "Please speak." "Brother Long, have you heard of a Tao that has only existed in legends for countless years, but no one has really comprehended it? However, with your aptitude, why don't you give it a try?" Longao finally knew what Duan Hun wanted to say. He shook his head. "Duan Hun, I know what you mean, but I've already thought of the 3rd Tao." Since the conversation had already reached this point, Duan Hun did not say anything more. "The reason why I've gathered so much power this time around is because I want to open a taboo. I want to see if the primal chaos seed really exists within the taboo. If that's the case, then I'll take my leave first." Longao did not continue to stay. Whether or not there was a seed of primal chaos in the forbidden area had nothing to do with him. It was impossible for him to snatch the primal chaos seed from Duan Hun. The matter of the Dragon Clan had already thoroughly shocked the entire Chaos Realm. Everyone already knew that a super expert had set up a trap for tens of thousands of Chaos Warriors. If it had been anyone else, they would have attacked long ago. Unfortunately, the other party was either in the Chaos Domain or in the Chaos Life and Death Realm. How many people would dare to attack an expert of this level? Longao had just left the Dragon Clan when he heard the descent of the Mountain of Laws. This time, it was real because many primal chaos martial artists had already entered the Mountain of Laws. How many chaotic warriors were there in the entire Chaos Realm? The Dragon Clan had lost over 10,000 chaos martial artists. To the Chaos Realm, the loss was not small. "Boss, are you going to the Mountain of Laws?" Shaking his head, Longao certainly knew what Xiao He meant. He said, "Since the Mountain of Laws has already descended, then it won't disappear for the time being. I'd better comprehend the 3rd Tao first. After 3 Taos converge, then I'll head to the Mountain of Laws. This way, it'll be much easier for me to comprehend the Chaos Law." Originally, Longao wanted to comprehend a more powerful Tao. However, if he wanted to comprehend such a Tao, it would definitely take a long time. For him, time was everything. He really could not afford to delay. In desperation, he could only casually choose a Tao to comprehend. For the current Longao, it was a little too easy to casually find a Tao to comprehend. In just a few days, he had successfully comprehended the 3rd Tao. The next thing to do was to converge. This was also the most crucial step. If he succeeded in converging, then he could become a primal chaos martial artist. If he failed in converging, not to mention becoming a primal chaos martial artist, he would not be able to continue converging for the rest of his life. Countless primal chaos martial artists were stuck at this step and were unable to converge. Therefore, without full confidence, no one was willing to casually attempt converging. In the eyes of all primal chaos martial artists, converging was difficult. However, in Longao's eyes, it was not difficult at all. He was almost 100% confident that he could succeed in converging. Among the 6 realms of chaos, the easiest to break through was primal chaos martial artist. It was precisely because of this. Longao found an extremely secluded place and began to converge 3 Taos. The Tao of Dragon, Tao of Massacre, and the 3rd Tao of Fire that he had just comprehended. The 3 Taos began to hover above Longao's head and formed a tripartite balance. For Longao, among all the Taos, the easiest to comprehend was the Tao of Fire. After all, he had 4 mystical fires. It was too easy to comprehend. The 3 Taos began to slowly rotate above Longao's head. If he wanted to succeed in gathering, he had to let the 3 Taos reach a balance and form an endless cycle. It seemed to be extremely easy, but it was very difficult to do it. If he was careless, he would fall into a state of eternal damnation. Xiaohei, can boss succeed? Is there any danger? Tao Tai and the others were very worried. They did not know if boss could succeed. If he failed, they knew what it meant. However, Xiaohei smiled and said, "Don't worry. Boss was a primal chaos martial artist. Moreover, he was the most powerful primal chaos martial artist. I don't dare to say anything else, but boss won't have the slightest problem with converging 3 Taos." Everyone who was originally worried felt relieved when they saw Xiaohei's confidence in boss. After all, Xiaohei had been following boss for 2 lifetimes. Since Xiaohei said so, they believed that boss would not have any problems with converging 3 Taos. 10 days later, the 3 Taos above Longao's head began to slowly stop revolving and returned to Longao's body. Opening his eyes, Longao's face was filled with surprise. In just 10 days, he had succeeded in converging 3 Taos and advanced to become a primal chaos martial artist. He was 1 step closer to the peak. How could he not be excited? How could he not be excited? Chapter 3171. Successfully converging, Longao was also pleasantly surprised to the extreme. The next thing was to comprehend the laws as soon as possible and reach the primal chaos law realm. Compared to 3 Tao convergence, it was much more difficult to break through the primal chaos law realm. If it was under normal circumstances, it would be a blessing in disguise to be able to comprehend the primal chaos law within 100 years. But now, the situation was completely different. Because of the descent of the Mountain of Laws, the time to comprehend the primal chaos law would be greatly shortened. The place where the Mountain of Laws descended was the 2nd sky. No one knew if it was intentional or a coincidence. If it was any other time, no righteous Tao cultivator would be willing to casually step into the 2nd sky. But the situation was different now. Previously, someone had deliberately set it up. This time, many primal chaos martial Tao and primal chaos convergence cultivators had entered the Mountain of Laws. No one knew how long the Mountain of Laws would descend. It might only descend for a day, or it might take tens of millions of years. It all depended on luck. Longao certainly wasn't afraid of the Demon Palace. Not to mention that he had already reached the primal chaos convergence stage. Even if he hadn't comprehended the Tao back then, he dared to provoke the Demon Palace. If it was an ordinary person, would he dare to do so? There was no doubt about it. The 2nd sky. Not only were primal chaos martial Tao cultivators from other heavens endlessly entering the Mountain of Laws, but even primal chaos martial Tao cultivators from the Demon Palace were frantically entering the Mountain of Laws. For primal chaos martial Tao and primal chaos convergence cultivators, the Mountain of Laws was the most crucial place. Even if there was no hope of comprehending the primal chaos law, once a primal chaos martial Tao cultivator entered the mountain of laws, the chances were very high. At this moment, Longao entered the second sky without any hindrance. After all, there were too many primal chaos martial Tao cultivators in the second sky. The Demon Palace didn't dare to casually investigate. Mo Wutian and Mo Wufeng didn't believe that Longao would really come to the second sky and enter the Mountain of Laws. To enter the Mountain of Laws, one had to comprehend at least one Tao. What about Longao? Longao was only a god ancestor. Even if he wanted to enter the Mountain of Laws, it was impossible. The Demon Palace's matter had already spread throughout the Chaos world. The Demon Palace was now a joke to the Chaos world. A big joke. A joke that was almost destroyed by a mere god ancestor. How could they not be angry? However, under such circumstances, what could he do even if he was angry? Longao had long since disappeared without a trace. Even the Devil Palace would not be able to find traces of a single person in a sea of people. Not to mention the Devil Palace. Even if the three super forces of the Chaos Realm joined forces, they might not be able to do it. It was too difficult. The Devil Palace could only suffer in silence, unable to voice out their grievances. However, Mo Wutian did not choose to give up. He continued to secretly search for Longao. Whether it was to eliminate the source of the problem or to take back the heavenly ghost devil flame, he had to find Longao. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ever since he had started chasing after Qin Shuang, Mo Wutian had known that his relationship with Longao could only be that of an enemy, not a friend. If he had known earlier, he would have made a move back then. However, it was too late for regrets. When Longao entered the second heavenly region, he didn't deal with the Devil Palace. His main purpose of coming here was to find a way to enter the Mountain of Loss to cultivate, not to deal with the Devil Palace. There would be plenty of time to deal with the Devil Palace in the future, so there was no need to rush. The Heavenly Shaking Peak was an inconspicuous mountain peak in the second heavenly region. It was desolate and uninhabited. Usually, no one would come here. But now, the Heavenly Shaking Peak had become the most prosperous place in the second heavenly region. Countless Chaos Realm cultivators came from all directions to enter the Mountain of Laws and comprehend the Chaos Laws. After breaking through the Chaos Realm, no one would be unwilling to comprehend the Chaos Laws and become a Chaos Law Realm cultivator. However, it was too difficult to comprehend the Chaos Laws under normal circumstances. It would be fortunate if 1 out of 10 Chaos Realm cultivators could successfully comprehend the Chaos Laws. One could imagine how difficult it was to comprehend the Chaos Laws under normal circumstances. The Mountain of Laws directly covered the Heavenly Shaking Peak. From afar, the Mountain of Laws looked small, but once one stepped into it, one would see that it was boundless. Longao also entered the Mountain of Laws smoothly. The Mountain of Laws was too big. Even if tens of thousands of people entered, it would be difficult to meet each other if they didn't deliberately look for the other party. Of course, Longao wouldn't look for trouble. As the saying goes, if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll pay them back double. This time, he entered the Mountain of Laws to cultivate and comprehend the Chaos Laws. He didn't care about anything else. He found a relatively secluded place. Longao immediately sat on the ground and started to comprehend the Chaos Laws. Comprehending the Chaos Laws was easy and difficult, especially in the Mountain of Laws. If some Chaos Realm cultivators were lucky, they could succeed in comprehending the Chaos Laws in a few days. If they were unlucky, they might not be able to comprehend the Chaos Laws even after a few years or even hundreds of years. As for comprehending the Chaos Laws and Chaos Convergence, there was basically no difference in the Mountain of Laws. In other words, the speed of comprehending the Chaos Laws might not be faster than the speed of comprehending the Chaos Laws. Now, Longao was already a Chaos Convergence Realm cultivator. He was only one step away from officially breaking through the Chaos Laws. Not only Longao, but the other 5 Chaos Divine Beasts were also comprehending the Chaos laws. After all, the 5 Chaos Divine Beasts were either reincarnated or severely injured. Therefore, comprehending the Chaos laws was also an indescribable benefit for the 5 Chaos Divine Beasts. But what was the result? In just a few minutes, Longao suddenly stood up and said with a solemn face, "Something is wrong. Everyone, stop comprehending the Chaos laws." "Boss, what's going on?" The 5 Chaos Divine Beasts were very curious. They did not know what was going on with their boss. The time of the Mountain of Law's descent was uncertain. If they missed this opportunity, they would not even have the chance to regret it in the future. "Boss, what's wrong?" Longao's face became more and more solemn as he said, "There's something wrong with this Mountain of Laws. It seems that the laws here are controlled by someone. No matter who it is, as long as they can comprehend the Chaos laws, they will be controlled by someone." Ah! Hearing their boss's words, the 5 Chaos Divine Beasts were completely dumbfounded. Of course, they knew what their boss meant. If that was the case, the 5 Chaos Divine Beasts knew better than anyone else what it meant. It was just that who could control the Mountain of Laws. After all, it was born from the Chaos Realm. Even a Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivator could not do it. Could it be a Tao Validation Realm cultivator? It was a little ridiculous. Since he was a Tao Validation Realm cultivator, why would he lower himself to control some ants? Chapter 3172. "Boss, can you lock onto it?" Shaking his head, Longao said helplessly, "Although I don't know who is controlling the Mountain of Law, I can say that the person controlling the Mountain of Law is definitely a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist." There was no need to say more as the 5 chaotic divine beasts already knew. Who could it be? "Boss, what should we do now?" Since things had already come to this, it was impossible to continue comprehending. So what if they could comprehend the chaotic rules of order? Thinking about it, they knew what the result would be. "Let's not leave first. I want to see who did it." Could it be Duan Hun? In the beginning, Longao suspected that it was Duan Hun's doing. After all, what happened to the dragon tribe was Duan Hun's doing. Others might not know, but how could he not know? But after thinking about it, he felt that it was a bit ridiculous. It was definitely not Duan Hun. Longao had always believed in his intuition. Since it was not Duan Hun, then who could it be? Longao did not leave the Mountain of Law but chose to stay. He also wanted to see who it was that was able to control the Mountain of Laws. Under normal circumstances, if a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist wanted to control it, they could do so, but no one was willing to do so. After all, the Mountain of Law was born from the chaotic realm. If they tried to control it forcefully, they would provoke the Tao of Chaos and might even be killed by it. Hence, Longao had a guess in his heart. It was because of this bold guess that he decided to stay. Time passed by bit by bit. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. In 30 years, many chaotic divine beasts had successfully comprehended the chaotic rules of order and became chaotic divine beasts. But Longao was not one of them. It was not that Longao's talent was not good, nor was it that Longao could not comprehend the chaotic rules of order. The real reason was that Longao did not comprehend the chaotic rules of order at all. "Damn. Boss, what's wrong?" Looking at Longao, who suddenly stood up, Blackie and the other chaotic divine beasts' faces changed. Of course, they knew what was going on with their boss. It seemed that their boss had discovered the identity of the other party. Did their boss know the other party? "Not only do we know this person, but he is also our enemy." Huh. The more this was the case, the more curious the 5 chaotic divine beasts were. They did not know who this person was. No matter how hard the 5 chaos divine beasts tried, they could not figure out the identity of the other party. Blackie asked impatiently, "Boss, who is it?" "Guao." Forget about the 5 chaos beast, even Longao never thought that the person controlling the Mountain of Law would actually be Guao. Gu Hao was actually a primal chaos samsara martial artist. If he did not personally sense it, even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe that the person controlling the mountain of law was actually Gu Hao. Let's go and see this old friend. Longao had already guessed that Gu Hao was not only a samsara primal chaos martial artist, but also a very powerful samsara primal chaos martial artist. As for whether Gu Hao had awakened from his reincarnation or was heavily injured, it was still unknown. At the peak of the mountain of laws, Gu Hao's face was very solemn. He had spent an endless amount of effort to control the mountain of law because he wanted to continuously increase his own strength. However, reality was cruel, and he realized that even if he controlled the mountain of law, it would still be of little help to him. Just as Gu Hao was about to give up, Longao? Looking at the figure that suddenly appeared in front of him, Gu Hao's face instantly darkened, and he said coldly, "Ha ha ha, I really didn't expect that you would also enter the mountain of law." Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Even if he was beaten to death, Gu Hao would never have thought that Longao would actually enter the mountain of law, so he did not pay attention to it at all. Longao could not see Gu Hao's true strength clearly, but he was very clear that the current Gu Hao was no longer the same as before, and his strength was definitely above his own. Even so, Longao was not afraid at all. "Gu Hao, you are really not simple. Back then, I actually didn't know you." Back then, Longao was also a samsara primal chaos martial artist. He roughly knew all the primal chaos samsara martial artists in the entire primal chaos realm, but he did not know that there was a person like Gu Hao. If nothing unexpected happened, the time that Gu Hao took to become a primal chaos samsara martial artist far exceeded his. By the time he became a samsara martial artist, Gu Hao would have already reincarnated, or he would have already retired. In any case, he had never heard of such a person in the primal chaos realm. "Ha ha ha, you don't know me, but I know you. You are known as the most outstanding primal chaos martial artist in the primal chaos realm. I never thought that the person that the old thing would choose would actually be you." The more it was like this, the more Longao feared the other party. Such a person was truly terrifying, especially when he said that "you don't know me, but I know you." He was known as the most outstanding primal chaos martial artist in the primal chaos realm. I never thought that the person that the old thing would choose would actually be you. The meaning of these words was self-evident. Longao was not a fool, so of course he knew what it meant. Xianyuan Bubi is also a primal chaos samsara martial artist. Intuition told Longao that if his guess was not wrong, it should not be wrong. After all, even Gu Hao was a primal chaos samsara martial artist. If that were the case, Gu Hao and his master would definitely be primal chaos samsara martial artists as well. Ha ha ha. Seems like you're not stupid after all. That's right, that old thing Xianyuan Bubi is indeed a primal chaos samsara martial artist. However, you've still guessed wrong. Guessed wrong? Could it be? As though he had thought of something, Longao's face changed. Looking at the expression on Longao's face, Gu Hao suddenly burst out laughing maniacally. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Seems like you wanted to get your master's chaos seed. That's why you defeated Xianyuan Bubi as your master. From there, you ambushed him in the dark. It's just that you didn't succeed, right? So what if I did? That old thing thought that he would be able to slay the Tao of Chaos just because he had successfully verified his Tao and became a Tao-confirming martial artist. But, to think that he would be severely injured by the rules of the Tao of Chaos in the end. At that time, if he was willing to reincarnate and give me the Chaos Seed, I would already be a Tao-confirming martial artist. Before Gu Hao could finish his words, Longao had already waved his hand impatiently and said with disgust, "A traitor will always be a traitor. Shameless will always be shameless. You deceived your master and killed him. You wanted to steal his Chaos Seed. A scum like you. One day, I'll definitely help my master clean up the sect and kill you." Longao had not expected that his master, Xianyuan Bubi, would be a Tao-confirming martial artist. One had to know that a Tao-confirming martial artist was the strongest existence that stood at the pinnacle of the martial Tao. P.S. I've had some matters at home these few days. Due to my busy schedule, I can only write 2 chapters a day. Little 9 has tried his best as well. There should be nothing else tomorrow. I'll update 4 chapters at most. If there's enough time, Little 9 will update 5 chapters. Thank you, brothers, for your support and rewards. Little 9 thanks everyone. Chapter 3173. With just you. Guhao did not put Longao in his eyes at all. Not to mention now, even back then, when Longao was at his peak, he did not even put him in his eyes. However, what Guhao never expected was that the Longao in front of him was the genius who roamed the Chaos Realm all those years ago. He was very regretful. Longao did not make a move. Just thinking about it, with his current strength, even with the help of the 5 great Chaos Divine Beasts and the 4 great Strange Fires, he would still be unable to kill Guhao. Why waste time? Looking at the figure that turned and left, Guhao did not stop him. Burning Heart Fire Lotus. Completely ignoring Guhao's words, Longao turned around and quickly left. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. Longao had already guessed that the thing that Guhao was truly afraid of was definitely the Burning Heart Fire Lotus that he had obtained. Longao did not tell anyone about the matter of the Mountain of Law. Because he knew that even if he said it, it would be equivalent to saying it for nothing. No one would believe him. Both times, the Mountain of Law was equivalent to nothing. The first time was a rumor spread by Duan Hun, and this time, it was Guhao who was causing trouble. After 30 whole years, he still hadn't succeeded in comprehending the primal chaos laws. It seemed like it was still because of the chaotic sacred body's physique. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't depressed. What should he do? The situation was getting more and more complicated, and there was another Guhao. He originally thought that he could kill Guhao after breaking through the primal chaos realm, but he never thought that Guhao's background would be so awesome. Boss, what should we do now? The primal chaos laws were not something that could be comprehended overnight, especially with his own chaotic sacred body. In the end, if he wanted to comprehend the primal chaos laws, it still depended on luck. If he was lucky, he would be able to comprehend it in a few minutes. If he was unlucky, he might not be able to comprehend the primal chaos laws even after a few hundred years. Just like this time, he had spent an entire 30 years and still had not succeeded in comprehending the primal chaos laws. Longao could almost be sure that if he were to comprehend the primal chaos laws in the Mountain of Law, he would definitely be able to comprehend the primal chaos laws. However, he did not do that. So what if he could comprehend the primal chaos laws? In the end, he was still controlled by Guhao. Let's first comprehend the primal chaos laws. This was the key point. 6th stage of primal chaos martial Tao, primal chaos convergence, primal chaos law, primal chaos domain, primal chaos life and death, and primal chaos reincarnation. He had only just reached primal chaos convergence. He still had a long way to go before he could reach the peak of primal chaos reincarnation. That was indeed the case. What he needed to do now was to comprehend the law of primal chaos and become a primal chaos law warrior as soon as possible. The matters of the Mountain of Laws could be considered to have come to an end. As for what exactly Guhao wanted to do, Longao did not want to care. Chaos Realm. In a land of chaos. Divine mathematician Yibu's expression was extremely solemn. Although his cultivation base had broken through the primal chaos law after this period of recovery, he was still a long way from the peak. Reincarnation awakening was simply too difficult. Father, are we not going to continue cultivating? Yidugu was very curious. He didn't know what was going on with his father and why he had chosen to leave. Ever since he had stayed here to cultivate, Yidugu had found that he had fallen deeply in love with this place. In just a few hundred years, his cultivation had successfully broken through the Chaos Tao. This was something that he would never have dared to think about in the past or in normal times. It was precisely so. Yi Dugu was reluctant to leave this place. If he could stay here and cultivate, he knew what it meant. How could the divine mathematician not know what Yi Dugu was thinking? He snorted coldly. Yi Dugu was shocked. Of course, he knew that ever since his father's primordial spirit awakened, his father's feelings for him had become fainter and fainter. As for the so-called father-son relationship, it was simply nonsense. Yi Dugu could even imagine that as long as he did something wrong, his father would definitely not hesitate to kill him. How could he not be afraid? Let's go. Yi Dugu was helpless. Even if he was unwilling to leave, since his father had already said so, Yi Dugu did not dare to say anything more. Until now, Yi Dugu still did not know what his father wanted to do. Why did he choose to leave? This was clearly a holy land for cultivation. It was very difficult to find such a place in the Chaos Realm. He could not figure it out. He really could not figure it out. He could only follow and leave. At the peak of a lonely mountain, a beautiful figure stood quietly, facing the wind. Qin Shuangshuang looked at the endless void in the distance. She still had not recovered her memories. However, she always felt that she had lost something. She could not grasp it and was very irritated. Just what have I lost? You've lost me. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Judas and Wu Tian's figures appeared. Ever since Longao left the second sky, Wu Tian had been keeping track of Qin Shuangshuang's location. He knew that just dealing with the Longao was too difficult. After all, he had the Chaos Palace. But if he could control Qin Shuangshuang, then it would be a whole different story. Wu Tian knew better than anyone else about the relationship between Longao and Qin Shuangshuang. This was the real reason why he had been chasing after Qin Shuangshuang from the very beginning. Looking at the man and beast who had suddenly appeared before her, Qin Shuangshuang's face turned cold. Her face was filled with rage as she said, "Judas, Wu Tian, you two had better scram. Otherwise, this will be the place where you two will die. With just you. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. It wasn't just Wu Tian. Even Judas was laughing maniacally. It was as if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. 1 against 2, how could Qin Shuangshuang be a match for them? Looking at the maniacal laughter of the man and beast, how could Qin Shuangshuang not know what they were thinking? She was furious, but she didn't dare to act recklessly. She knew very well that with her strength alone, there was no way she could win against the man and beast. Whether it was Judas or Wu Tian, their strength was clear for all to see. If she were to be controlled by them, she knew what it would mean. Qin Shuangshuang, are you afraid? Looking at the expression on Qin Shuangshuang's face, Wu Tian could guess what was going on. He threw his head back and laughed maniacally. As long as he could control Qin Shuangshuang, then he wouldn't have to worry about Longao not obeying him. If he told him to go east, Longao wouldn't dare to go west. If he said 1, Longao wouldn't dare to say 2. Thinking of this, Wu Tian couldn't help but feel excited. Longao was still 1 step behind. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Chapter 3174. Scared? You think I'm scared of you? Qin Shuangshuang's eyes turned cold as she charged towards the man and beast. But in a 1 versus 2 situation, how could Qin Shuangshuang be a match for Mo Wu Tian and Judas? Mo Wu Tian, you've gone too far. Just as Qin Shuangshuang was about to give in, the situation changed. A figure appeared, forcing the two back and standing in front of Qin Shuangshuang. Hao Lin, you want to interfere? Looking at the man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Mo Wu Tian's voice was as dark as it could get. What Hao Lin meant, he knew better than anyone. Ha 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 ha, he laughed maniacally. Hao Lin's voice was cold. Mo Wu Tian, you're shameless to the extreme. How dare you attack a woman? Let me ask you, are you still a man? Hao Lin, we've always minded our own business. Why do you have to get involved in this mess? Unless it was absolutely necessary, Mo Wutian did not want to break all pretense of cordiality with Hao Lin. Especially at a time like this. As long as he could control Qin Shuangshuang, then dealing with Longao would be a simple matter. But because of Hao Lin's sudden appearance, things had become extremely troublesome. Why are you helping me? Qin Shuangshuang did not let down her guard just because the other party suddenly intervened. As the saying goes, you may know a person for a long time without understanding his heart. Longao and my friend. Longao? Qin Shuangshuang, of course, knew who Longao was. He was a man who constantly pestered her, but always helped her. Could it be that he really knew Longao before? She had no recollection of him at all. No matter how she thought about it, she could not recall Longao. Hao Lin, get lost. Mo Wutian finally knew that Hao Lin was not joking with him. He was serious. How could he not be angry? How could he accept this? Since things had come to this, there was no way he could give up. Not to mention whether Longao would ever return to his peak, just the fact that Longao had stolen his heavenly devil flame and Tao Tai was a debt he had to pay. He would not rest until he killed Longao. Scram? Hao Lin laughed coldly, not taking the man and beast before him seriously at all. Mo Wutian, I think you should be the one who should scram. I don't want to repeat myself. If you think that you can defeat me, come at me. Continue? Or choose to give up? He was unwilling to give up. After all, if he couldn't control Qin Shuangshuang, he wouldn't be able to control Longao. And if he couldn't control Longao, he wouldn't be able to take back what belonged to him. Mo Wutian did not have much confidence in continuing. He knew how powerful Hao Lin was, especially the God-sealing pagoda in Hao Lin's hands. It was the most terrifying chaos divine tool in the primal chaos realm. Back then, Hao Lin had relied on the God-sealing pagoda. Very few people were his match. According to the legends, Longao and Hao Lin had fought before. Who won and who lost? Although the result of the battle was not announced, many people knew that the winner of the battle was Longao. However, no one dared to underestimate Hao Lin. Are you scared? What a joke! As soon as Mo Wutian asked this question, he had never imagined that someone else would ask him the same question in a matter of minutes. Ha 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 ha. Seeing that Mo Wutian and Judas didn't dare to attack, Hao Lin threw his head back and laughed maniacally. Whether Hao Lin was friend or foe, Qin Shuangshuang didn't want to stay any longer. She turned and left. You want to leave? So what if I do? Just as Mo Wutian made his move, Hao Lin also made his move. The two men and one beast instantly engaged in a fierce battle, exchanging blows back and forth. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Qin Shuangshuang disappeared from where she stood. Watching Qin Shuangshuang leave, Mo Wutian was anxious to the extreme. But there was nothing he could do. Hao Lin's strength was there for all to see. If he and Judas were at their peak, they might have been able to suppress him. But now, it was impossible. He had to end this quickly. A small black pagoda appeared in his hand. It was the God-sealing pagoda. Smash! In the next second, Hao Lin's God-sealing pagoda smashed out. It was as fast as lightning, one attack after another, densely packed. Truly, one's worst fears came true. The thing Mo Wutian was most wary of was the God-sealing pagoda. Now that Qin Shuangshuang had left, even if he could win against Hao Lin in the end, he would lose 800 of his men. This was an outcome he did not wish to see. Turning around, he left. Hao Lin did not chase after him. Looking at the man and beast disappearing, Hao Lin muttered to himself, Longao, this is all I can help you with. Longao wasn't around at all. Even though he hadn't accomplished anything in the Mountain of Laws, nor had he managed to comprehend the Chaos Laws, he still hadn't left the second sky. Boss, we're heading back? Xiao He and the others were curious. They did not know what was going on with their boss. Why was he heading back to the Mountain of Laws after leaving? He knew that the Mountain of Laws was under Gu Hao's control. Even if he could comprehend the chaos laws, it would be useless. However, Xiao He and the others weren't fools. Since their boss had returned, he definitely had his own intentions. Xiao He's expression was grave as he said, "If nothing unexpected happened, Guhao had already chosen to give up the Mountain of Laws when I met him. Although I don't know what happened, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me." So that's how it was. The 5 Chaos Divine Beasts finally knew why their boss had returned to the Mountain of Laws. On the other hand, Longao would need a long time to comprehend the Chaos Ghost sect under normal circumstances. However, if you were to enter the Mountain of Laws to cultivate, the time he would need to comprehend the Chaos Laws would be greatly reduced. This was without a doubt. If it was before, Longao would definitely not comprehend the Chaos Laws in the Mountain of Laws. After all, Guhao had already controlled the Mountain of Laws. If he were to comprehend the Chaos Laws himself, he would have fulfilled the other party's wish. However, the situation now was completely different. Guhao had already left. Entering the Mountain of Laws at this time was the best choice. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate and immediately rushed to the Mountain of Laws with his fastest speed. Inside the Mountain of Laws, there were still many Chaos Divine Beasts who continuously entered the Mountain of Laws to cultivate. They had already successfully comprehended the Chaos Laws, so they didn't continue to stay. Instead, they chose to leave. After all, Chaos Divine Beasts who had successfully comprehended the Chaos Laws wouldn't be of much use even if they continued to stay. They still found a secluded place to start cultivating and comprehending the Chaos Laws again. Chapter 3175. Inside the Mountain of Laws. Longao and the 5 chaotic divine beasts were all sitting quietly, trying to comprehend the chaotic rules of order in the shortest time possible to become a chaotic rules of order martial artist. For Longao, comprehending the chaotic rules of order was much more difficult than comprehending the 3 Daos at one's prominence. It was really unknown when he would be able to comprehend the chaotic rules of order. Thinking about it, he felt helpless. The 6 realms of chaos, chaotic Tao comprehension, chaotic rules of order, chaotic realm, chaotic life and death, and chaotic reincarnation. He had just succeeded in comprehending the 3 Daos at one's prominence and had not even comprehended the chaotic rules of order. There was still a long way to go before he could reach the chaotic reincarnation realm. There were less than 10,000 years left. Could he recover to his peak state? Even Longao himself did not have any confidence. Inside the chaotic Dantian, the Heaven You demonic flame's face was solemn because until now, he still did not know where the 9 heavenly flames he had obtained had gone. It was definitely not that simple. What was going on? The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Longao, I have something to tell you. Hearing the Heaven You demonic flame's words, Longao was curious and immediately entered the chaotic Dantian. What's wrong? Longao, the more I think about it, the more I feel that something is wrong. I hid the 9 heavenly flames very well. How could they disappear at the same time? Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. He was also very curious about the 9 types of heavenly flames. He didn't know what was going on. Why would the 9 types of heavenly flames disappear for no reason? It was simply nonsense. One had to know that the 9 types of mystical flames were the strongest existences in the world. Any random mystical flame could destroy the heavens and the earth. Who could control the 9 heavenly flames at the same time? He could not figure it out. He really could not figure it out. According to my guess, since the other party could find the 9 heavenly flames, he must know about my existence. Longao was not a fool. He roughly knew what the Heaven You demonic flame meant. Who do you mean? After this person obtains the 9 heavenly flames, he will find a way to deal with you. That's right. Although he did not want to believe it, the Heaven You demonic flame had a bad feeling. Continue. The heavenly quiet demonic flame thought for a while and said worriedly, the primal chaos realm has a total of 23 kinds of mysterious flames. they are the peak mysterious flames. The top 10 mysterious flames might not even be able to force them to submit. You should know what I mean. Longao nodded. How could he not know what the heavenly eudaimonic flame meant? He was a Tao-proving warrior. Try asking. In the entire Chaos realm, how many Tao validation martial artists were there? Longao, you should know what it means if the person controlling the 9 mysterious flames is a Tao vindication cultivator. After listening to the heavenly ghost devil flames guess, Longao's face became more and more solemn and gloomy. He knew better than anyone else what it meant to be a Tao-proving martial artist. Not to mention the current him, even if he was at his peak, it was impossible for him to be a match for a Tao validation martial artist. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the person who controls the 9 types of exotic flames should not be a Tao vindication cultivator. Longao had always trusted his intuition, and this time was no exception. His intuition told him that this was definitely not the work of a Tao vindication cultivator. Is that true? The heavenly quiet demonic flame was still worried. It was just that he was still severely injured. If he was at his peak, he would definitely not be so worried. Don't worry, no matter what happens, as long as you are in my primal chaos dantian, no one can enter, not even a Tao vindication cultivator. Longao had full confidence in his primal chaos dantian. However, it was unknown whether it could resist the entry of a Tao vindication cultivator. Since things had already come to this, the heavenly quiet demonic flame did not say anything more. Longao did not leave his primal chaos dantian. Instead, he sat there quietly. In his mind, he kept thinking about what the heavenly quiet demonic flame had just said. No matter what happened, he had to obtain the 9 types of mysterious flames. The primal chaos realm only had a total of 23 types of mysterious flames. He had already successfully obtained 4 of them. He was still missing 19. The heavenly quiet demonic flame had obtained 9 types of mysterious flames by himself. If he could obtain 9 types of mysterious flames, what kind of concept would that be? The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Longao no longer had the mood to comprehend the primal chaos law. To the 9 types of mysterious flames, the primal chaos law was not even worth a fart. Could it be Mo Wutian? Previously, it was Mo Wutian who had set up the array to trap the heavenly quiet demonic flame and the Tao Tai divine beast into the heavenly demonic abyss. If one had to say who was most likely to do something, it would definitely be Mo Wutian. However, this was a little ridiculous. Mo Wutian did not have the ability to do so. Not to mention the current Mo Wutian, even at his peak, Mo Wutian would not be able to control 9 types of mysterious flames at the same time. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Outside, Xiao He and the others who were trying their best to comprehend the primal chaos law were very curious. They did not know what their boss was doing. Why did he not come out after entering the primal chaos dantian? Was he going to give up? One had to know that every time the mountain of loss descended, no one knew how long it would take. It could be a day, or a year. If they missed this opportunity, no one knew when the mountain of loss would descend again. Xiao He was most worried about Longao. He did not know what had happened to his boss. After communicating with his boss, he instantly entered the primal chaos dantian and immediately asked, "Boss, what's wrong with you? Why don't you go out to comprehend the primal chaos law? You should know that if we miss this opportunity, we don't know how long we will have to wait. Normally, it would take time to comprehend the primal chaos law." At this point, Xiao He did not continue speaking. However, the meaning of his words was very clear. He was very clear in his heart that since he had already said so much, he believed that his boss would understand what he meant. With regards to Xiao He's meaning, how could Longao not know? He sighed deeply in his heart. He did not hide anything from Xiao He and roughly told him about his conversation with the heavenly demonic flame. After listening, Xiao He finally understood what was going on with his boss. So it was for the 9 types of mysterious flames. After thinking about it, he understood what it meant. After all, he knew better than anyone else what 9 types of mysterious flames meant. If his boss could obtain 9 types of mysterious flames again, he would have a total of 13 types of mysterious flames. What kind of concept was that? Not to mention obtaining 13 types of mysterious flames, even obtaining 2 types of mysterious flames at the same time would be a blessing in disguise. Xiao He said helplessly, "Boss, although the 9 types of mysterious flames are important, you still have to comprehend the primal chaos law first." Chapter 3176. How could Longao not know what Blackie meant? But now, he was always thinking about the 9 kinds of mysterious fires. He was very irritated and did not have any thoughts to comprehend the chaos laws. But Blackie was right. No matter what, he had to comprehend the chaos laws first. Leaving the chaos dantian, Longao began to devote himself to comprehending the chaos laws. Time passed by little. A month later. The moment the mountain of laws disappeared, Longao stood up suddenly, his face full of surprise. After a month of comprehension, he finally succeeded in comprehending the chaos laws and became a chaos law warrior. How long did it take Longao to break through from God Ancestor to chaos law warrior? This kind of cultivation speed was a bit heaven-defying. But Longao felt that it was too normal. No matter what, he was a reincarnated rebirth realm warrior. No matter how fast it was normal. The 6 realms of chaos. Chaos enlightenment, chaos convergence, chaos law, chaos domain, chaos life and death, and chaos reincarnation. Now that Longao had successfully broken through the chaos laws, there was only one thing left to do, and that was to comprehend the domain with the chaos laws and form a law domain. It was easy to say, but it was extremely difficult to do. But Longao was not worried at all. Chaos enlightenment, chaos law, and chaos domain could all bypass the chaos saint body. For him, these 3 realms were the easiest to break through. If a warrior broke through the chaos domain and wanted to comprehend life and death and reach the chaos life and death realm, they could not bypass the chaos saint body. Blackie and the others also had a great harvest, and all of them had recovered to the chaos realm. Boss, it seems that we should be able to recover to the rebirth realm within 10,000 years. He nodded. If it was before, Longao did not dare to have the slightest guarantee, but it was different now. Within 10,000 years, their cultivation could definitely break through the rebirth realm. With the disappearance of the mountain of laws, many chaos warriors, whether they comprehended the chaos laws or not, chose to leave. After all, the second sky was the territory of the demon palace. No one wanted to stay here. Except for the demon Dao chaos warriors. Mo Wutian and Judas were not in the demon palace to deal with Qin Shuangshuang. Longao, who originally wanted to leave. Yet, he chose to stay. The biggest reason was to see if the sudden disappearance of the 9 heavenly flames had anything to do with Mo Wutian. Although he guessed that Mo Wutian was not the one behind this matter, he still felt that Mo Wutian was not the culprit. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. What if it was Mo Wutian? At this moment, the Devil Palace still had an absolute ban on killing Longao. No matter who it was, as long as they encountered Longao, they would kill them without mercy. It was just that Longao was nowhere to be seen. Although the Devil Palace was one of the 3 superpowers of the Primal Chaos Realm, they couldn't cover every corner of the Primal Chaos Realm. It was easier said than done to find traces of a person in the Chaos Realm. And the result? Not only was the person the Devil Palace was looking for not in the other heavens, but he was in the second heavens. Even if the Devil Palace was beaten to death, they would never have thought that the person they were looking for would actually dare to come back. He still entered the Devil Palace secretly, but this time it was much more difficult. After all, the Devil Palace had a precedent. Not to mention Longao, no matter who it was, it wouldn't be easy to enter without being noticed. Longao didn't know whether Mo Wutian was in the Devil Palace or not. He could only try his luck and see if the other party was still there. At this moment, a very explosive news came out of the Thunder Heavenly Domain. The Thunder Heavenly Domain's Domain Lord Guhao suddenly announced that he would leave the Domain Lord Alliance and establish his own sect. Moreover, the Thunder Heavenly Domain would no longer belong to the Domain Lord Alliance in the future. What kind of concept was this? 95% of the heavens in the Chaos Realm were under the jurisdiction of the Domain Lord Alliance. Only the second heavens were independent existences. Since the establishment of the Domain Lord Alliance, such a thing had never happened. There was actually a Domain Lord who dared to leave the Domain Lord Alliance. This was simply provoking the Domain Lord Alliance. How could the Domain Lord Alliance not be angry? There was no doubt about it. The Domain Lord Alliance immediately sent an army to the Thunder Heavenly Domain. Everyone could almost say that Guhao was completely courting death. Daring to provoke the Domain Lord Alliance, what was the difference between this and suicide? There was almost no difference. Many people from the Thunder Heavenly Domain started to escape in large numbers. After all, everyone knew what it meant to provoke the Domain Lord Alliance. If they continued to stay, they would know what it meant. Towards these people, Guhao chose to forcefully suppress them. No matter who it was, those who dared to secretly escape from the Thunder Heavenly Domain would all be killed without question. Under this kind of bloody suppression, no one dared to casually leave. Longao also received the news and was very shocked. He was very clear that the current Guhao was at most a warrior of the Primal Chaos Domain, and had not even broken through to the Primal Chaos Life and Death Realm. Unless Guhao was able to recover to his peak strength, what was going on? He couldn't figure it out, he really couldn't figure it out. Originally, he wanted to see if Mo Wutian was in the Demon Palace, but the current Demon Palace was like an iron bucket, and it was very difficult to secretly enter. Helpless, Longao could only choose to leave first, but he headed towards the Thunder Heavenly Domain, wanting to see what exactly Guhao and the Thunder Heavenly Domain were up to. Just when everyone thought that Guhao would be annihilated by the Domain Lord Alliance, the result was far beyond everyone's expectations. In just a few short days, the Domain Lord Alliance's army had already been defeated by Guhao, and they had even suffered heavy losses. When the news came out, it completely shocked the entire Chaos Realm. When did Guhao become so powerful? It was something that everyone knew. Guhao was only a divine emperor. A divine emperor martial artist, with a heaven region, was actually able to heavily injure the Domain Lord Alliance's army. Although the Thunder Heavenly region had openly provoked the Domain Lord's alliance, the Thunder Heavenly region had not been sealed off. No matter who it was, anyone could enter the Thunder Heavenly region as they wished. Because of this, Longao was able to enter the Thunder Heavenly region without any hindrance. Just as he stepped into the Thunder Heavenly Domain, Longao heard that Guhao had defeated the Domain Lord Alliance. He was also very shocked in his heart. When did Guhao become so strong? If he did not hear it with his own ears, even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. Longao did not reveal his identity. Guhao was his great enemy, whether it was for himself or for his master. He had seen a battle with Guhao in the future. As for this kind of situation, it was not suitable for him to clash head-on with the other party, as it would not benefit him in any way. Let's take a look at the situation first and see what was going on with Guhao before making any plans. Chapter 3177. Guhao's sudden rise shook the entire Chaos Realm. No one had thought that the Domain Lord of the Heavenly Domain would be so powerful. Not only did he provoke the Domain Lord Alliance, he even repelled the Domain Lord Alliance's army. This in itself explained everything. What did Guhao want to do? What did the Thunder Heavenly Domain want to do? Could it be that Guhao wanted to replace the Domain Lord Alliance's position in the Chaos Realm? If that was the case, it was hard to believe that there was such a crazy existence in the Chaos Realm. Thunder Heavenly Domain. Domain Lord Manor. The current Guhao had a solemn expression. His cultivation had successfully broken through the Chaos Domain, and he was only one step away from reaching the Chaos Life and Death Realm. As for the final Chaos Samsara, it was still a bit difficult. Even so, Gu Hao couldn't wait any longer. Gu Hao was different from the other Chaos Realm cultivators. Not only did he want to be strong, he also wanted to dominate the entire Chaos Realm. When the Demon Palace was established, the Domain Lord Alliance and the 3 Chaos Samsara Realm cultivators had the same idea as Gu Hao. They wanted to dominate the Chaos Realm. In the end, the Demon Palace, the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall split the world and dominated the Chaos Realm. Domain Lord, the Domain Lord Alliance has gathered an army again. They will come to my Thunder Heavenly Domain in a month. Hearing his subordinates report, Gu Hao wasn't surprised at all. It would be strange if the Domain Lord Alliance remained indifferent. You may leave. Yes. The Domain Lord Alliance's first army was defeated by Gu Hao. How could they choose to give up so easily? Although Tsang Hao and Shi were still having internal strife, they chose to unite against external enemies at the same time. If they couldn't deal with the Thunder Heavenly Domain, it would mean something to the Domain Lord Alliance. That was exactly the case. The furious Tsang Hao and Shi sent out an army to attack the Thunder Heavenly Domain for the second time. It once again shook the entire Chaos Realm. The Domain Lord manner was exceptionally quiet. Gu Hao's expression became more and more serious. Although the Thunder Heavenly Domain was not weak, it was almost impossible to fight against the entire Domain Lord Alliance. Even if they could block the attack of the Domain Lord Alliance once, it seemed impossible to block it a second time, or even 3 or 4 times. It was completely predictable that the Domain Lord Alliance would not give up. They would definitely attack the Thunder Heavenly Domain continuously until they destroy themselves. All of a sudden, Gu Hao laughed. A figure appeared, and it was none other than the ancestor of the Domain Lord's Alliance, Sangya. As a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist, Sangya had long awakened his primordial spirit and even recovered to his peak strength. You are Gu Hao. Sangya didn't know about Gu Hao back then, so he was very curious. He didn't know when a hidden primal chaos samsara martial artist had appeared in the primal chaos realm back then. Sangya, you don't know me, but I know you. Back then, your Domain Lord Alliance was truly not bad. What do you want? His opponent was already infinitely close to the chaotic life and death stage, especially when his opponent was a peak reincarnation stage martial artist. Sangya knew that if he was unable to kill him in one strike, once his opponent recovered his peak strength, he would definitely take revenge on the Domain Lord's Alliance. If that was the case, it was obvious what it meant. As if he knew what Sangya was thinking, Gu Hao sneered and said, Sangya, I only have one request. From now on, I want half of the Chaos Realm, how about it? No. Without even thinking, Sangya directly rejected. This was complete nonsense. If he were to hand over half of the Heaven Domain, then wouldn't the empire that he had fought so hard for be given away for nothing? Such a thing, not to mention himself, no matter who it was, they wouldn't do such a thing. Gu Hao, you are going too far. I can promise you that from now on, the Thunder Heaven Domain belongs to you. How about it? This was already Sangya's final compromise. Even so, once this matter was spread out, the Domain Lord's Alliance would lose all face. After all, something like cutting off a Heaven Domain had never happened in the Domain Lord's Alliance in the long river of time. However, unless it was absolutely necessary, Sangya did not dare to casually make a move. A hidden primal chaos samsara martial artist was simply too scary. Who knew if the other party still had any trump cards? Especially. He didn't know the other party, but the other party knew him. Not only that. The other party was obviously about to recover his peak strength. If he said that he wasn't afraid, then he would definitely be lying. Any random primal chaos samsara martial artist in the primal chaos realm was not simple. No matter what, to be able to become a primal chaos samsara martial artist, talent, potential, and perseverance were all indispensable. Ha 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 ha. Hearing Sangya's words, Gu Hao burst out laughing maniacally. Within his laughter, there was an endless amount of mockery. Sangya, Are you joking with me? Do you think that I would care about a small thunder heaven domain? I'll give you a chance now. As long as you give me half of the heaven domain, I can coexist with you and deal with the Pill Hall and Devil Palace together. At that time, you and I will split the entire primal chaos realm equally. If you don't agree, don't blame me for being heartless. I might not be your opponent now, but after 1,000 years, when my cultivation state recovers to a primal chaos samsara martial artist. At this point, Gu Hao did not continue. However, the meaning behind his words was clear. He believed that as long as Sangya was not a fool, he would be able to understand the meaning behind his words. How could Sangya not know what the other party meant? He snorted coldly and laughed coldly. Since you know, then you should know Han Wu and Mo Wutian as well. Do you think that the two of them will agree? No matter if it was Han Wu or Mo Wutian, they were both super powerful beings who founded the Devil Palace and the Pill Hall. If it was possible, he would have made his move to unify the entire primal chaos realm. Why would he wait until now? He had already guessed it. However, Gu Hao said, it's just Han Wu and Mo Wutian. Wait till my cultivation state recovers to its peak. You and I will work together to destroy them one by one. At that time, once Han Wu and Mo Wutian die, the entire primal chaos realm will be ours. Do you think that the others will agree? Of course, Gu Hao knew who the others that Sangya was talking about were. He said, if they wanted to interfere, the others back then would have already done so. They only know how to prove their Tao and will not interfere with the matters of the primal chaos realm. I believe that you should know this better than me. Sangya's face was grim. Should he make a move? If he could not hit the target with a single strike, then things would be troublesome. After thinking about it, Sangya nodded his head and said, I'll believe you this time. But remember, don't play any tricks with me. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Chapter 3178. Sangya left. The corners of Gu Hao's mouth slowly revealed traces of a cold smile. No one can stop me from dominating the primal chaos realm. I will kill anyone who stands in my way. They had thought that the Domain Lords Alliance would definitely uproot the Heavenly Thunder domain. The situation suddenly changed. The second wave of troops sent by the Domain Lords Alliance didn't come to the Thunder Heavenly Domain. Instead, they retreated. What was going on? No one could figure out why the Domain Lords Alliance would suddenly do such a thing. Could it be that the Domain Masters Alliance was afraid? It felt a little ridiculous. As one of the three superpowers of the Chaos Realm, the Domain Lord Alliance's strength was placed there. Amir Gu Hao seemed to find it difficult to deal with the Domain Lord Alliance. Not to mention the Thunder Heavenly Domain, even the other two super forces, the Devil Palace and the Pill Hall, didn't dare to casually provoke the Domain Lords Alliance. The Domain Lords Alliance was extremely powerful. There were 99 heaven domains in the Primal Chaos Realm, and the Domain Lord Alliance occupied 95% of them. It was obvious what this meant. Not only that. What happened next not only shook the Primal Chaos Realm, but also left everyone in disbelief. It turned out that not only did the Domain Lord Alliance not continue to deal with the Thunder Heavenly Domain, they even gave half of the Heavenly Domain to Gu Hao. What was going on? Was Gu Hao really that powerful? Even the Domain Leaders Alliance was afraid of him. If they hadn't heard it with their own ears, no one would have believed it. The First Heavenly Region. Domain Lords Alliance. San Hao and Shir were both in the main hall. Their faces were very gloomy. Internal strife was nothing to an external enemy. After all, the loss of half of the Heaven Domain was a huge blow to the Domain Lord Alliance. Ancestor, why are we doing this? Looking at the old ancestor in front of them, both San Hao and Shir felt a little depressed. If it were anyone else, the two of them would definitely not agree. Only the old ancestor, even if the two of them were extremely uncomfortable, they could only accept it. Gu Hao is a primal chaos samsara martial artist. Huh. the two of them were only comprehending the Tao through chaos. Even Song Hao was only a third Tao warrior. He had not even reached the convergence of chaos. It was precisely because of this that the two of them knew in their hearts what it meant to be a primal chaos samsara martial artist. Of the 6 realms of primal chaos reincarnation could be said to be the pinnacle existence. The strongest person under the Tao validation realm. Even if the two of them were beaten to death, they would never have thought that the Thunder Heavenly Domain's domain lord, Gu Hao, would actually be a legendary samsara chaotic martial artist. No wonder the ancestor chose to compromise. When encountering such a super expert, once they shed all pretense of cordiality, it was obvious what the outcome would be. He sighed deeply. Facing such an expert, the two of them felt helpless. They were unwilling to hand over half of the heaven domain so casually. A primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivator wanted half of the heaven domain. Could it be that a second primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist would appear? What about the third primal chaos reincarnation warrior? If every primal chaos reincarnation cultivator came to divide the heaven domain, would the Domain Lord Alliance have to be casually divided? As if he could guess what the two of them were thinking, Sanya said helplessly, although I have recovered my peak strength, there are too many variables in the chaos realm. If there is no need, don't casually provoke a chaos samsara cultivator. Sanya was very clear in his heart what it meant to provoke a primal chaos samsara martial artist. Ancestor, what should we do now? Guard the Domain Lord Alliance. Gu Hao will contact you later to deal with the Pill Hall together. Huh? Deal with the Pill Hall? The two of them were completely frightened. The two of them were very clear about what the Pill Hall meant. The Pill Hall was one of the 3 super forces in the Chaos realm. How could it be so easy to deal with them? However, since the ancestor had already said so, the two of them didn't dare to say anything. Sanya also wanted to mess up the Chaos realm. After all, the Chaos realm was too stable. If this continued, 10,000 years later, it wouldn't be beneficial for him to prove his Tao. Not only him, he believed that all primal chaos samsara cultivators wouldn't be willing to let go of this opportunity. After all, as long as they could prove their Tao, everything else would be unimportant. Within the Thunder Heaven domain, Longao also received the news. He was very shocked. He couldn't understand. Even if Sanya already knew Gu Hao's true identity, he shouldn't compromise like this. Even if Sanya chose to compromise, he couldn't just casually hand over half of the heaven domain. What did it mean to hand over half of the heaven domain? Longao was very clear in his heart. There must be something fishy going on. Boss, do you think Gu Hao and Sanya will reach some kind of agreement? How could Longao not know the meaning behind Xiao Hei's words? He nodded in agreement and said, it should be so. However, Sanya handing over half of the heaven domain shouldn't be that simple. Longao didn't know where the problem was. 3 days later, Gu Hao and the Domain Lord Alliance, who were originally enemies, suddenly joined hands to attack the Pill Hall, causing the entire palace to be in chaos. No one knew what was going on, and why the Domain Lord Alliance wanted to attack the Pill Hall for no reason. All along, the Pill Hall and the Domain Lord Alliance were one of the 3 super forces. Normally, they wouldn't interfere with each other. Because of this, everyone was very shocked. Why did the Domain Lord Alliance want to deal with the Pill Hall? Boss, I heard that the Domain Lord Alliance joined hands with Gu Hao to deal with the Pill Hall. What's going on? Longao's expression was very serious. In this situation, he could almost be sure that Gu Hao and Sanya must have made some kind of agreement. Otherwise, Gu Hao and Sanya wouldn't join hands to deal with the Pill Hall. He really couldn't understand what Gu Hao took out to make Sanya choose to compromise. Furthermore, he even joined hands with Gu Hao to deal with the Pill Hall. There was no need to say what the Pill Hall meant. The Pill Hall's Hall Master Han Wu was also a primal chaos reincarnation warrior. His strength was obvious. It was too strange. Gu Hao and the Domain Lord's Alliance joined hands. Their attacks were extremely fierce. From the beginning to the end, the Pill Hall didn't even react. After all, the Pill Hall didn't expect that the Domain Lords Alliance and Guhao would join hands to fight against them. Just a few days ago, the two families were still enemies. Why did it become like this in such a short time? In the beginning, the Pill Hall was a little passive and suffered heavy losses. However, as one of the three super forces, they quickly adjusted themselves and started to counterattack slowly. Gradually, they stabilized themselves. Both sides were in a stalemate. But soon, the Devil Palace also interfered. No one knew why. The three super forces of the primal chaos realm all joined hands. It was very chaotic. Chapter 3179. As the three super forces started fighting with each other, the whole chaotic world was in chaos. Many people were involved in it. Corpses were everywhere and blood flowed like a river. The three super forces started fighting with each other. It was a rare thing in the chaotic world. After all, no one was willing to break the deadlock. The result of the war was likely to be a reshuffle. Longao was still in the Thunder Heavenly Domain. He wanted to know what was going on. His intuition told him that things were not that simple. Guhao left. Longao was in the Thunder City. Guhao didn't leave secretly at all. Not only Longao, but everyone else already knew that Guhao had left. The fuse of the war between the three super forces was Guhao. It had to be said that Guhao was indeed very awesome. Throughout the chaotic world, Guhao was probably the only one who could cause a war between the three super forces. Boss, since Guhao has left, are we going to leave the Thunder Heavenly Domain too? He shook his head. Longao said with a serious face, I'm going to the Domain Chief's mansion. Ah. Blackie and the others didn't know what was going on with their boss. Guhao had already left. What was the use of going to the Domain Chief's mansion? However, since their boss had made up his mind, they didn't continue to talk nonsense. The Domain Chief's mansion was definitely the core of the underworld in the Thunder Heavenly Domain. It was also the place where the highest power lay. Before, the real master of the Thunder Heavenly Domain was not the Domain Chief's mansion, but the Domain Chief's alliance. However, the situation was completely different now. Guhao was not only the Domain Chief of the Thunder Heavenly Domain, but also half of the country. In the Domain Chief's mansion, Longao secretly stepped in and found that there were no less than 100 chaotic warriors in the Domain Chief's mansion. Among them, there were several chaotic life and death warriors. What did that mean? How could a small Domain Chief's mansion have so many chaotic warriors and several chaotic life and death warriors? It was completely nonsense. Longao could completely assert that Guhao had planned this a long time ago, secretly developing the strength of the Thunder Heavenly Domain. It was just that he didn't know why, but for some reason, he chose to make a move at this time, and even caused a great war between the three superpowers. Although Longao's cultivation was only at the law of primal chaos, it was difficult for anyone to discover his presence when he concealed his aura. Longao's intuition told him that the Domain Chief's mansion must have some secrets. Under normal circumstances, since the Domain Lord Alliance had already divided half of the Heaven Realm, then Guhao would definitely move to a more advantageous Heaven Realm, and not continue to hide in the Thunder Heavenly Domain. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe that there was nothing fishy going on. He began to carefully check the Domain Chief's manor. Are you saying that you suspect that the 9 mystical flames are in the Domain Chief's mansion? The Heaven You Devil Flame's face completely changed. He naturally knew what Longao meant. He was very curious. How exactly did Guhao lock onto his position and snatch away the 9 types of heavenly flame? Are you sure? I'm not completely sure. It's just an intuition. Back then, when you subdued the 9 types of heavenly flames, could it be that you didn't sense anything? The Heaven You Devil Flame's face was very solemn. He said, under normal circumstances, I can definitely sense the existence of the 9 types of heavenly flames. If it's really as you said, the 9 types of heavenly flames are here, but I can't sense them. Then there's only one possibility. Gu Hao sealed the 9 types of heavenly flames. That's right. I see. In fact, Longao had already guessed that the reason why he entered the domain chief's mansion this time and was so sure that there were 9 types of heavenly flames in the domain chief's mansion was not only his intuition, but also the sensing of the flame of primal chaos. The flame of primal chaos was the first of the 23 types of heavenly flames. After a little sensing, he became more and more sure of his guess in his heart. Anyway, things had already come to this. No matter what, he had to take a look. If he could take back the 9 types of heavenly flames, it would not be a good thing. Following the aura sensed by the flame of primal chaos, Longao came to the ground in the center of the domain chief's mansion. In a huge cave, the 9 types of flames were sealed in the cave. So it's really Gu Hao who took away the 9 types of heavenly flames. The 9 mystical flames were the green lotus flame that was ranked 5th, the 5 elements flame that was ranked 9th, the reincarnation destruction flame that was ranked 10th, the imperial incineration heaven flame that was ranked 13th, the 9 underworld flame that was ranked 14th, the fire emperor that was ranked 16th, the flame supreme that was ranked 17th, the god annihilating flame that was ranked 20th, and the 9 transformations misty fire. That was ranked 22nd. Before, it was just a guess. Looking at the 9 types of heavenly flames sealed in the cave, Longao already knew that Gu Hao was the one who seized the 9 types of heavenly flames. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. However, although Gu Hao had seized the 9 types of heavenly flames, it was very difficult for him to subdue them. Otherwise, he would not have just sealed the 9 types of heavenly flames in the cave and completely subdued them. Gu Hao knew better than anyone what it meant to subdue the heavenly flames. It was precisely because of this that he had a chance. Longao was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that he had made the right choice in coming to the domain chief's mansion. Otherwise, where would he find the 9 types of heavenly flames? Heavenly devil flame, is there any way to subdue the 9 types of heavenly flames? If it was him alone, it would be almost impossible for him to subdue the 9 types of heavenly flames at the same time. However, the current situation was completely different. With the help of the heavenly devil flame, everything that was impossible would become possible. No problem, but this seal is not simple. Leave the seal to me. Longao was not worried at all about the seal that Gu Hao had set up. This was because he could easily break the seal with the primal chaos axe in his hand. If it was anyone else, they might not be able to do it. Even if he was beaten to death, Gu Hao would not believe that someone would step into the domain chief's mansion without anyone noticing, and even find the location where the 9 types of heavenly flames were sealed. If it was anyone else, they would definitely not be able to do it. Only Longao, and he also had the primal chaos flame that was ranked first. If it was not for the primal chaos flame's reaction, how could he lock onto the location of the 9 types of heavenly flames? That was just bullsh*t. Holding the primal chaos axe in his hand, Longao did not hesitate at all. Immediately, he started attacking the cave in a frenzy. Boom! 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 The entire cave began to tremble violently. Before long, the seal was completely destroyed. At this moment, the heavenly devil flame began to subdue the 9 types of heavenly flames. Since it had already subdued them previously, it was just a matter of minutes for it to do so again. Done. Let's go. Longao's heart leaped with joy. After allowing the heavenly devil flame to enter his primal chaos dantian, he left the cave at the fastest speed possible. Similarly, he did not linger in the domain chief's mansion for long as he flew out at the fastest speed possible. Chapter 3180. After successfully obtaining the 9 kinds of strange flames, Lin Hao left the domain master's mansion and immediately entered the chaotic dantian. A month later. As soon as Gu Hao returned to the domain master's mansion in Thunder City, he realized that something was wrong. His face suddenly changed. In the cave. Looking at the 9 kinds of strange flames that suddenly disappeared, Guhao's face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could be. Back then, he had obtained the 9 kinds of strange flames with great difficulty, but he had never thought that at this time, he would give it to someone else. Who was it? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure out who was behind it. Endless anger. Longao, who had obtained the 9 kinds of strange flames, could completely imagine what kind of reaction Guhao would have. However, he chose to ignore it. Currently, Longao had a total of 13 heavenly flames. They were the Green Lotus Flame that was ranked 5th, the 5 Elements Flame that was ranked 9th, the Reincarnation Destruction Flame that was ranked 10th, the Emperor Incineration Sky that was ranked 13th, the 9 Underworld Flame that was ranked 14th, the Fire Emperor that was ranked 16th, the Flame Supreme that was ranked 17th, the God Destruction Flame that was ranked 20th, and the 9 Rotation Misty Fire that was ranked 22nd. In addition, he had the Primal Chaos Flame which was ranked 1st, the Heavenly Demonic Flame which was ranked 2nd, the Hell Demonic Flame which was ranked 3rd, and the Heart-Burning Lotus which was ranked 7th. Boss, you have already obtained 13 kinds of strange flames. Is it possible to obtain the other 10 kinds of strange flames? How could Longao not know what Xiao He meant? There were only 23 kinds of strange flames in the Chaos Realm, and he had already obtained 13 kinds of strange flames. However, he didn't even dare to think about the remaining 10 kinds of strange flames. With a bitter smile, Longao said with a smile, "I'm already satisfied. I don't have any thoughts about the other 10 kinds of strange flames." At this time, the Heavenly Devil Flame suddenly said, "Boss, I don't know if you've heard of a legend. Please speak." Longao was also very curious. He didn't know what the Heavenly Devil Flame wanted to say, but his intuition told him that what the Heavenly Devil Flame was about to say must have something to do with the 13 kinds of strange flames. As expected. Boss, there are 23 kinds of strange flames in the Chaos Realm. You should all know this. Longao nodded. Of course, he knew that there were 23 kinds of strange flames in the Chaos Realm. If you can gather all 20 kinds of strange flames, you will have the supreme power of fire. Even the great Tao of Chaos won't be able to do anything to you. Ah! He was startled. Longao knew that a single heavenly flame was very powerful, but he did not expect that when 23 heavenly flames gathered together, it would have such terrifying power. No one was more persuasive than the Heavenly Devil Flame. After all, the Heavenly Devil Flame was ranked 2nd among the 23 kinds of strange was flame. Boss, before this, you must have never imagined that you would be able to obtain 13 heavenly flames. You also support me in searching for the remaining deviant flames? The Heavenly Demonic Flame nodded and said with a smile, "Before I met you, I didn't dare to believe that someone could obtain 13 heavenly flames, including the Primal Chaos Flame, Little Flame, and even me." The Heavenly Demonic Flame was indeed a little shocked. If it was before this, even if it was beaten to death, it would not have believed it. It was precisely because of this. Only then did the Heavenly Devil Flame believe that his boss might really be able to get the remaining strange flames in the future and gather all the strange flames. This kind of pioneering work, the creation of heaven and earth, no one had ever done it before. The Heavenly Demonic Flame could imagine that if boss could really do it, then even the great Tao of Primal Chaos wouldn't dare to go against boss. Confirming the Tao would be a piece of cake. Well, since you all choose to believe in me, then I will also choose to believe in myself. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to gather all the strange flames. Longao knew very well what it meant if he could get the remaining strange flames. Boss, what are you going to do now? What do you mean? Hearing the Heavenly Devil Flame's question, Longao was a little confused. He didn't know what the other party meant and what he was going to do now. He had only obtained 13 kinds of strange flames, but he couldn't unleash the power of the 13 kinds of strange flames. This was the most helpless thing. The Heavenly Devil Flame knew very well what his boss meant. After thinking, he said, "Boss, I will start to help all the strange flames recover, including Little Flame." However, I can't do anything about the flame of primal chaos. You will have to continue. The heavenly devil flame was ranked second, while the flame of primal chaos was ranked first. Even if the heavenly devil flame wanted to, he had to see if he had the strength and qualifications. Nodding. Even Longao did not know much about the primal chaos flame. Back then, he did not obtain the primal chaos flame. As for why the primal chaos flame was born in the primal chaos palace after his reincarnation, who knew what was going on? He couldn't figure it out. However, since he had already obtained the flame of primal chaos, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity. According to the heavenly devil flame, he had to awaken the flame of primal chaos as soon as possible. That way, he might be able to sense the existence of the other 10 kinds of strange flames. After leaving the primal chaos Dantian, Longao didn't hear anything. It seemed like no matter how angry Guhao was, he wouldn't reveal the secret of him obtaining the 9 kinds of strange flames. Once it was revealed, no matter if the 9 kinds of strange flames were really lost or not, there would be people who wouldn't believe it. As long as Guhao wasn't an idiot, he wouldn't find trouble for himself. Back then, Guhao was able to find the location without anyone noticing and take away the 9 kinds of strange flames. From this, it could be seen that Guhao wasn't simple. However, after thinking about it, Guhao wouldn't have caused such a huge battle between the 3 super forces if he didn't have the electric resistance. After an entire month, the battle between the Devil Palace, the Domain Lords Alliance, and the Pill Hall was still going on. Moreover, it was constantly increasing, and there were countless casualties. In the beginning, the 3 super forces were only fighting with ordinary warriors. However, no one knew if it was because the 3 super forces had gone berserk in the end, and all of them sent out primal chaos warriors. One must know that primal chaos warriors were the pinnacle existences in the primal chaos realm. Once a primal chaos warrior participated in the battle, it was obvious what it meant. The battle spread throughout the entire primal chaos realm. Any heaven domain that was affected by the battle would be covered in blood. Blood would flow like a river, and corpses would be everywhere. Many people were caught in the crossfire. After all, when the 3 super forces started a battle, there would definitely be cases of innocent people being killed. This was also the most terrifying battle since the establishment of the 3 super forces. Even the 3 super forces themselves didn't expect this to happen. Chapter 3181. Should I get involved in this? Longao was very clear in his heart just how bad the current situation was. After thinking about it, he still felt that there was no need for him to get involved. The most important thing right now was to increase his strength as soon as possible. After all, he was only at the law of primal chaos. Not to mention the peak primal chaos reincarnation, he had not even reached the primal chaos domain yet. After obtaining the 9 heavenly flames, Longao did not want to get involved in the battle between the 3 super forces. He did not plan to stay any longer. He would leave. However, even if he left the Thunder heavenly domain, where could he go? In the current primal chaos realm, there were wars in the 99 heavenly domains. The flames of war spread across the entire primal chaos realm. Boss, do you want to go to the Pill Hall? I heard that there's a place in the Pill Hall that allows the law of primal chaos martial artists to comprehend the domain in a short time. Alright. If there were other ways, Longao would definitely not go to the Pill Hall at this time. The first heavenly domain. The battle in the first heavenly domain was intense. The Pill Hall and the Martial Artists Alliance were like enemies that had been fighting for tens of thousands of years. Sister Han and Sister Lin from the Domain Lords Alliance were his confidants. Longao had deep feelings for the 2 of them. That was the case. He did not want anyone to hurt the 2 of them. However, the 2 of them had special positions in the 2 super forces. Nothing would happen to them. If he entered the Pill Hall recklessly, he would not be able to enter that place. It was better to look for Sister Han. Brother Long, is it really you? Looking at Longao, who suddenly came to look for her, Han was extremely excited. She could no longer control her emotions. She hugged Longao and started to cry. He sighed deeply in his heart. Since things had already come to this, he did not continue to reject Sister Han's feelings. Seeing that his younger sister had finally found a home, Han Feng smiled. Half an hour later. Big brother. It's rare that you still remember me. Not bad, not bad. Hearing Han Feng's words, Han Yin's face slightly reddened. She glared at him and said, Brother Long, I've heard about what happened to you. You're too reckless. Longao smiled. Of course, he knew what Sister Han meant. He didn't care about the previous incident at all. Brother Long, why did you come to the pill hall? Me. Longao didn't hide anything either. He told the two of them exactly what he was thinking. After listening to the story, Han Feng smiled and said, There's no problem. Although that place is a forbidden area of the pill hall, Brother Long, you can enter whenever you want. He was very grateful. Longao knew clearly what the pill hall's forbidden area meant. If it wasn't for the two of them, how could an outsider like him casually enter the pill hall's forbidden area? It was complete nonsense. Brother Long, you won't be leaving the pill hall anytime soon, right? I won't. As if he thought of something, Longao suddenly asked, Big Brother Han, why did the pill hall fight to the death with the Domain Lord Alliance? Is it because the Domain Lord Alliance wants to fight against the pill hall? Longao couldn't figure it out. He didn't know what was going on. Under normal circumstances, even if the Domain Lord Alliance wanted to fight against the pill hall would consider the big picture. They wouldn't fight to the death with the Domain Lord Alliance. Especially with the Demon Palace's interference, it was strange. Speaking of this, Han Feng sighed helplessly and said, Brother Long, to be honest, even my father doesn't have the right to ask about this matter. It seems like the old ancestor came back personally. You should know that no one dares to go against the old ancestor's words. I see. Longao also knew that since it was decided by those few people, even Han Yin couldn't interfere, let alone Han Feng and Han Yin. Brother Long, the first heavenly region isn't safe now. You should follow me back to the pill hall. Don't come out for the time being. Han Yin and Han Feng didn't know Longao's true strength. They thought that Longao was just a god ancestor. Now that the three superpowers were at war, the chaos martial artists were involved. Everyone knew what this meant. Han Feng and Han Yin knew very well what the consequences would be if Longao continued to stay outside with his current condition. All right. Longao agreed without hesitation since he was going to enter the forbidden area of the pill hall. Han Yin was delighted. She immediately brought Longao into the pill hall. The pill hall was very strict both inside and outside. Even with Han Feng and Han Yin leading the way, Longao was interrogated a few times. But in the end, they entered the pill hall smoothly. In an independent courtyard. Brother Long, it's a special situation now. So, we need to ask our father for permission to enter the forbidden area. But don't worry, I'll let you in 3 days. Thank you, brother. If it was any other time, he would definitely be able to enter the forbidden area with the help of brother and sister Han. But now, the situation was very special. After the battle with the Devil Palace and the Domain Lord Alliance, there were countless casualties. The situation in the pill hall had changed a lot. Even with the two of them protecting him, he still needed to ask for permission from the pill hall master, their father. After Han Feng left, Han Yin and Lin Hao looked at each other. Their feelings for each other exploded. They couldn't control it anymore. The whole night, they had sex. The two of them finally became husband and wife. Han Yin laid quietly in Longao's arms and said, Brother Long, what are you going to do in the forbidden area this time? Han Yin had always been curious. She didn't know why Longao wanted to enter the forbidden area. After all, only chaotic warriors with the primal chaos law could enter the forbidden area. Longao was only a god ancestor. Even if he entered, he wouldn't be able to comprehend the power of the primal chaos domain. Hanin even suspected that Longao wanted to enter the forbidden area to comprehend the primal chaos domain directly. He would bypass the realm in between and comprehend the primal chaos domain from the god ancestor realm. To a chaotic warrior, not only was it not a good thing, it was also a bad thing. If he was careless, he would be devoured by his realm. The consequences would be unimaginable. How could Longao not understand the meaning behind Sister Han's words? He smiled and said, "Sister Han, I entered the forbidden area of the Pill Hall this time to comprehend the primal chaos domain. You should know what it means to be a primal chaos domain warrior." Ah. Chapter 3182. How could Hanin not know? It was precisely because he knew that he was incomparably shocked. "Little brother Long, could it be that you've already?" Longao did not hide anything from Hanin. He smiled and nodded. "That's right. I've successfully comprehended the laws of primal chaos and become a martialist of the laws of primal chaos. Thus, I need to comprehend the primal chaos domain as soon as possible." His face was instantly filled with surprise. Hanin knew very well what it meant for little brother Long to break through the primal chaos laws. Such cultivation talent and potential was enough to stand at the top of his peers and sweep through everyone. "I understand." Hanin and Han Feng immediately went to find Han Yun to discuss the matter. Originally, it would have taken 3 days, but now, it was reduced to 1 day. The next day. Dusk. Longao smoothly entered the Forbidden Zone. As expected, this place contained an endless primal chaos domain. Comprehending the primal chaos domain here was much easier than comprehending it outside. He didn't waste any time. Longao immediately sat down and began to comprehend the chaotic domain. The 6 realms of chaos: chaos martial Tao, chaos convergence, chaos laws, chaos domain, chaos life and death, and chaos reincarnation. Now, Longao was already a primal chaos law practitioner. If he could successfully comprehend the primal chaos domain, he would become a primal chaos domain practitioner. Once he succeeded, he would be able to work towards the chaos of life and death. Originally, whether or not he could successfully break through to the peak realm within 10,000 years was really an unknown. However, the situation was different now. Within 10,000 years, he would definitely be able to return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. The battle between the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall was still ongoing. The number of casualties was still increasing. If this situation continued, no matter if it was the Domain Lord Alliance or the Pill Hall, the losses would be too great. Both superpowers understood this very well. However, knowing this was one thing, and whether or not they were willing to stop was another. Under normal circumstances, if Longao wanted to comprehend the chaos domain, he didn't know how long it would take. It might take 10 years, 100 years, or even 1,000 years. However, the situation was different now. Comprehending the primal chaos domain in the Forbidden Grounds reduced the time it took to comprehend it. In just 3 days, Longao had successfully comprehended the primal chaos domain. At this time, even Longao had never thought of it. "Brother Long, why did you come out?" Of course, Han Feng already knew that Longao was already a chaotic martial artist. Moreover, he was a chaotic martial artist. When he first saw Longao, the other party was just an ant-like existence in front of him. But now? In such a short time, Longao had already become a primal chaos law adept, leaving him far behind. Even if Han Feng was beaten to death, he would not believe that Longao could successfully comprehend the chaotic domain in just 3 days. It was complete nonsense. Was that even possible? Not to mention Han Feng, even Hanin wouldn't choose to believe it. Longao smiled. "My luck is pretty good. I've successfully comprehended the primal chaos domain." Longao was also a little confused. He originally thought that even if he entered the Forbidden Land to comprehend the primal chaos domain, he would need at least a few years to successfully comprehend the primal chaos domain. However, he never expected that in just 3 days, he would be able to comprehend the chaotic domain. No wonder Big Brother Han and Big Sister Han didn't believe it. No matter who it was, they wouldn't believe it. Huh. Looking at Longao in front of them, both of them were completely stunned. Their faces were filled with shock. 3 days? In just 3 days? Even if Longao's talent and potential were great, it was impossible for him to comprehend the chaotic domain in just 3 days. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't believe it even if they were beaten to death. However, since it was Longao who said it, they didn't doubt it at all. Swallowing hard, Han Feng sighed and said, "Brother Long, you're really strong. Now that you've already comprehended the chaotic domain, you're just a step away from the chaotic life and death realm. However, I'm still in the same place. Compared to you, it was very bitter." Han Feng knew that there was no way he could be compared to Longao. They were simply not on the same level. How many people in the entire chaotic realm could compare to Longao? Han Yin smiled. She was very excited. The stronger Longao was, the happier she was. She couldn't wait for Longao to directly comprehend the chaotic life and death realm. After sending Han Feng off, Han Yin couldn't wait to say in surprise, "Brother Long, I'm really happy for you. When can you break through the chaotic life and death realm?" He smiled helplessly. "The chaotic life and death realm is the most critical moment for me to break through the chaotic reincarnation realm. This realm is also the most difficult realm for me to break through." Longao was very helpless about the chaotic life and death realm because to break through the chaotic life and death realm, one had to comprehend life and death. Longao didn't continue to hide from Han Yin. He said, "Big Sister Han, to be honest, I'm a reincarnated body. In my previous life, I was a chaotic reincarnation realm cultivator. You should be able to guess now why my cultivation speed is so fast." Huh? Han Yin was shocked again. She finally knew why Longao's cultivation speed was so fast. Even if he entered the Forbidden Land, he could successfully comprehend the chaotic domain in just 3 days. As if she thought of something, Han Yin immediately asked in surprise, "Brother Long, according to this situation, will you be able to return to the chaotic reincarnation realm in this life? If there's no accident, there shouldn't be any problem." Han Yin sighed. After all, she knew better than anyone what a chaotic reincarnation realm cultivator represented. In the entire chaotic world, there were only a few chaotic reincarnation realm cultivators. In the Pill Hall, only the old ancestor Han Wu was a chaotic reincarnation realm cultivator. One could imagine what a chaotic reincarnation realm cultivator was. Because of this, she never thought that Longao's previous life was a chaotic reincarnation realm cultivator. Moreover, he had already returned to the chaotic domain. He was only one realm away from returning to his peak strength. How could she not feel excited? How could she not feel excited? Han Yin was truly happy and excited for Longao. "Big Sister Han, I will think of a way to help you increase your strength quickly. In the future, you will definitely reach the chaotic reincarnation realm. Can I?" It was no wonder that Han Yin didn't believe it. After all, chaotic reincarnation realm cultivators were already standing at the peak of martial arts. Han Yin was very clear about her own talent. Not to mention breaking through the chaotic reincarnation realm, she didn't even know if she could reach Longao's realm. How could Longao not know what Big Sister Han was thinking? He didn't continue to say anything. Actions always spoke louder than words. Chapter 3183. Sister Han, how's the war going? Speaking of the war, Han Yin's face was filled with helplessness and seriousness. He gave a brief account of the battle between the two superpowers. Sister Han, the one who benefits from the war between the three super forces is definitely Guao. According to my guess, after the war ends, the primal chaos realm will be split into 4. Split into 4? Hanin knew very well what Brother Long was implying. Before, the primal chaos realm was a tripartite balance of forces. They were the Domain Lord Alliance, Pill Hall, and Demon Palace. Among the 3 super forces, Demon Palace occupied the least territory. They only occupied the 2nd sky region. Brother Long, it's just Guhao. Even if the Domain Lord Alliance divided half of the sky region, isn't it a bit exaggerated to divide the primal chaos realm with Guhao and Thunder Heavenly Domain? Not to mention Hanin, many people didn't put Guhao in their eyes. Although Guhao was powerful, it was still not enough to fight against the 3 super forces. How could Longao not know what Sister Han was thinking? He sighed deeply in his heart. His face was filled with helplessness. Sister Han, I can tell you clearly that Guhao is not simple. He is the same as me, a primal chaos reincarnation warrior. Furthermore, he has developed his power for so many years. It has already exceeded your imagination. Ah! Hearing Brother Long's words, Hanin was completely stunned. Primal chaos reincarnation warrior? A power that had been secretly developing for countless years. When the 2 were combined, it was obvious what it meant. Brother Long, what should we do now? Stop the war. This was the only way. However, Longao was not a fool. This was something that Han Wu and the others had decided personally. Even Sister Han's father, Han Yun, could not decide this matter. He had no right to speak. Then I'll go and talk to Father. I'll go with you. In the study. Looking at his daughter and Longao, Han Yun already knew that his daughter and Longao's relationship was not simple. However, he did not plan to interfere with their relationship. He was very satisfied with Longao. You broke through the primal chaos domain? Nodding, Longao smiled and said, I have to thank the Pill Hall's forbidden area. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to comprehend the primal chaos domain so quickly. All right. Han Yun sighed in his heart. How long had it been? In less than a few hundred years, Longao had already grown into the chaotic domain. He was only a step away from the chaotic life and death realm. This kind of talent was really a little scary. Han Yun was well aware that with Longao's talent and potential, it wouldn't take long for him to break through from the chaos domain to the chaos life and death realm. This was the real reason why Han Yun was unwilling to interfere in the relationship between the 2. Sister Han, please leave first. I have something to discuss with Uncle. All right, have a good talk. Hanin smiled, turned around, and left. You want to talk to me about the war? Han Yun was an old fox. Of course, he knew that Longao came to find him this time. If nothing unexpected happened, it was definitely because of the war between the Pill Hall and the Domain Lords Alliance. That's right. If it's about this, I advise you not to talk about it. Because even I don't have the right to interfere in this matter. Regarding the war, Han Yun was helpless. He never thought that the old ancestor would suddenly interfere in this matter. Moreover, he interfered in the most unyielding manner. Not to mention him, even the elders of the Pill Hall didn't dare to interfere in this matter casually. Han Yun's intuition told him that this matter wasn't that simple. Under normal circumstances, no matter if it was the old ancestor or the old ancestor of the Domain Lords Alliance, they wouldn't interfere in this matter. However, at this moment, the 2 old ancestors interfered at the same time. Uncle, I want to see Han Wu. You dare to call the old ancestor by his name? Han Yun's face instantly turned gloomy and ugly. Even if the matter between Longao and his daughter was already set in stone, the other party still dared to call the old ancestor by his name. He didn't put the Pill Hall in his eyes at all. Before Han Yun could get angry, Han Yun's face suddenly changed. He suppressed the shock in his heart and said, the old ancestor wants to see you. Follow me. All right. Han Yun couldn't figure out why the old ancestor wanted to see Longao. Even if Longao had already attained the Chaos Realm, he was still nothing in the eyes of the old ancestor. After all, the old ancestor was in existence at the pinnacle of martial arts, a chaos reincarnation martial artist. Pill Hall's forbidden grounds, peak of the back mountain, without Han Wu's summons, no one was allowed to come here. Even the Pill Hall's hall master, Han Yun, wasn't allowed to do so. When the two of them arrived at the peak of the mountain, they saw a figure sitting there quietly. It wasn't anyone else. It was the old ancestor of the Pill Hall, the chaos reincarnation martial artist, Han Wu. Old ancestor, Longao is here. Han Yun's attitude was really respectful. His face was filled with admiration. This was the old ancestor of the Pill Hall. It was the old ancestor who had created the Pill Hall single-handedly and divided the Chaos Realm equally. Han Wu suddenly burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Longao, long time no see. How have you been? Hearing the words of the old ancestor, Han Yun had a feeling that the old ancestor was treating Longao like a friend. Was this for real? Was he hallucinating? If he hadn't seen this with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Just what was going on? Long time no see. You're still the same. Yuner, you can head down first. Don't spread the news of Brother Long coming here. Yes. Han Yun was completely stunned. To think that the old ancestor would call Longao as Brother Long. What sort of a concept was that? He was clearer than anyone else in his heart. The old ancestor would only do this if he met a martial artist of the same cultivation state. No matter how talented Longao was and how much potential he had only broken through to the Chaos Realm. He wouldn't be taken seriously by any Chaos reincarnation martial artist. Just what was going on? Since the old ancestor did not elaborate further, Han Yun did not dare to ask either. He could only turn around and leave slowly. Before he left, he even looked at Longao deeply. He wanted to make out something from Longao's face. But no matter how he looked, he couldn't make out anything. Longao must definitely have some secrets. It was just that he hadn't told him. Once Longao left this place, Han Yun would definitely try his best to find out just what secrets Longao had that he didn't know about. This was definitely not something simple. Anyone who could be recognized as a friend by the old ancestor would know what that entailed. After Han Yun left, Han Wu smiled and said, "Please take a seat." Longao did not stand on ceremony either. Coming to the peak of the mountain, he sat down immediately. A flask of wine and 2 wine cups appeared on the stone table. Chapter 3184. Please. He raised the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. Brother Han, I would like to ask, what is going on this time? Han Wu naturally knew the meaning behind Longao's words. Looking at the endless horizon, he didn't know how long had passed. Han Wu's voice sounded. Brother Long, I know what you mean. To be honest, I intentionally started the war this time. Why is that? Could it be that Han Wu wanted to dominate the entire primal chaos realm? It felt a bit ridiculous. It was almost impossible for the Pill Hall to destroy the Domain Lord Alliance and the Demon Palace. After all, Mo Wutian and Sonya's status and strength were there. Previously, I fought with Sonya and Mo Wutian, and we completely shed all pretense of cordiality. In this battle, we all want to swallow the other two. Where's Gu Hao? Gu Hao. Han Wu didn't put Gu Hao in his eyes at all. In his opinion, even if Gu Hao secretly developed his own strength, it was impossible for him to fight against the 3 super forces. It was simply nonsense. How could Longao not know what Han Wu meant? Since things had already come to this, Longao didn't continue to hide it. He told Han Wu about Gu Hao's matter in detail. After hearing it, Han Wu's expression finally changed. He never thought that Gu Hao was also a Samsara Primal Chaos Realm martial artist, and he was about to recover his peak strength. What do you mean? Brother Han, according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, Gu Hao obviously did it on purpose. The final result of this battle will be that both of you three super forces will suffer. At that time, Gu Hao will come out to clean up the mess, and might even dominate the primal chaos realm. Ah! Is that possible? Han Wu shook his head and said with a smile, Brother Long, you are exaggerating. So what if Gu Hao is a primal chaos realm martial artist? Is it possible for him to dominate the primal chaos realm by himself? It was impossible. Not to mention Han Wu, no matter who he told this to, no one would believe him. Gu Hao wasn't the only primal chaos realm martial artist. Just the three super forces had three primal chaos realm martial artists. Emma Wu Tian, Han Wu, and Samya. Any one of the three primal chaos realm martial artists would not be a random person. How could they let Gu Hao dominate the primal chaos realm? The more he thought about it, the more amused he felt. Longao didn't find it funny at all. Gu Hao was not simple, he had always believed that. After setting it up for so many years, if he did not have complete confidence, Gu Hao would not have casually made a move. Brother Long, what's wrong with you? If it were someone else, Longao would definitely not intervene in this matter. Whoever dominated the Chaos Realm had nothing to do with him. He only had one goal, and that was to successfully corroborate his Tao. Actually, to a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist, whether or not they could form a domineering primal chaos realm did not matter at all. Brother Han, regardless of whether you believe me or not, I have a feeling that this matter is not as simple as it seems. Han Wu still didn't put Gu Hao in his eyes. No matter what happened, no matter what the result of the battle was, he believed that the Pill Hall would occupy a place in the primal chaos realm. The more he thought about it, the more amused he felt. Looking at the expression on Han Wu's face, Longao already knew that no matter what he said, Han Wu would not choose to believe him. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to say more. Brother Han, have you completely recovered? There's still one last step. The peak of the primal chaos life and death realm. Longao also sighed with emotion. If he did not possess the primal chaos sacred body, he believed that he would have already reached the peak of the primal chaos life and death realm. However, his situation was not that bad. Under the accumulation of various opportunities, his cultivation had successfully broken through to the primal chaos domain. He was only one step away from successfully breaking through to the primal chaos life and death realm. He was not too far away from Han Wu and the others. Longao was even more clear that this last step was not difficult for Han Wu. He believed that it would not be long before Han Wu could successfully recover to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Brother Long, it's not long before 10,000 years. I hope you can recover to your peak as soon as possible. At that time, all of us will help you break through to the 8th revolution of the 9 revolution primal chaos technique and help you successfully corroborate your Tao. Everyone knew that Longao's creation of the 9 revolution primal chaos technique was the only hope for him to corroborate his Tao. However, back then, Longao was only at the pinnacle of the 7th revolution of the Great Tao, and had yet to break through to the 8th revolution. To be able to reach the primal chaos reincarnation realm at the 7th revolution. Just thinking about it made one realize what was going on. If there were no accidents, once Longao broke through to the 8th revolution of the 9 revolution primal chaos technique, there was a high chance of him successfully corroborating his Tao. How could Longao not understand Han Wu's intentions? He chuckled out. Brother Han, I can promise you right here and now that if I can successfully corroborate my Tao, I will definitely help you to do so as well. How about that? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Good. 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 Amidst his maniacal laughter, Han Wu repeated the word good thrice. However, Han Wu's mindset was different from Longao's. Other than wanting to corroborate his Tao, he also wanted to rule over the entire chaos world. Otherwise, Han Wu would not have created the Pill Hall back then. That in itself spoke volumes. After chatting with Han Wu for a good couple of hours, Longao finally stood up and left. Han Wu was the only one left at the peak of the mountain. He stood there silently, facing the wind as he gazed into the endless void in the distance. No matter what, I'm going to rule over the entire chaos world. Whoever dares to stop me, I'll kill them. The moment Longao returned to his courtyard, he saw Han Yun, Han Feng, and Sister Han all present. Without asking, he already knew the reason why Han Yun was waiting for him here. Chuckling in his heart, he asked, "You guys were waiting for me?" Han Yin asked immediately, "Little brother Long, did you know the old master previously?" Even Han Yun and his father were curious, let alone Han Yin. Up till this moment, Han Yun was still in a daze. He did not know why the old master would call Longao brother Long out of nowhere, treating him as an equal. That was really weird. If not for the fact that he was witnessing it with his own eyes, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. That was the reason why Han Yun was curious. He wanted to know just what was going on. Just what sort of secrets did Longao have? He had already asked Xiaoyin earlier on, but she did not know anything at all. Han Yin did not tell her father about the fact that her little brother was a reincarnated being. She did not know if telling her father would bring any trouble to her little brother. For safety's sake, she decided not to tell him first. If her little brother wanted to tell him, there was no need for her to say anything. She believed that her little brother would tell him on his own accord. What was the point in doing so? Chapter 3185. We've known each other for a long time. Huh. Han Yun's heart skipped a beat. Even if Longao had known the old ancestor for a long time, the old ancestor wouldn't treat him as an equal. That was just too ridiculous. However, the truth was right in front of him and he had to believe it. Longao, what's going on? Shouldn't you tell us? You guys want to know? The three of them nodded, including Han Yun. They all wanted to know what was going on. Your old ancestor wants to dominate the chaos world. However, I can tell you clearly that it's impossible. Not only is it impossible, he might even give the chaos world to someone else. Han Yun shook his head. That wasn't what he wanted to know. He already knew the old ancestor's intention. If the old ancestor didn't want to dominate the chaos world, he wouldn't have triggered a war between two super forces. I can help your old ancestor to succeed in the Dao validation. Huh. Han Yun and Han Feng were completely stunned. They looked at the young man in front of them in shock. Of course, the two of them knew what it meant to succeed in the Dao validation. In the entire chaos world, there seemed to be no one who could truly succeed in the Dao validation. Could Longao really do it? Be it Han Feng or Han Yun, they didn't doubt Longao's words at all. Especially Han Yun, who had seen how the old ancestor treated Longao with his own eyes. They were completely friends. Could Longao really help the old ancestor to succeed in the Dao validation? What an unbelievable thing. It was truly hard to believe. Brother Long, can you really do it? Longao shrugged and said with a smile, who knows? Longao, who are you? Han Yun wasn't a fool. He gradually guessed that Lin Fan's identity was definitely not simple. Could he be the reincarnation of an expert? Looking at the expression on Han Yun's face, Longao already knew that if there was no accident, Han Yun must have already guessed his identity. Longao nodded with a smile and didn't say anything. Chaos reincarnation? Longao nodded again with a smile, which could be considered as tacit agreement. Han Yun was completely scared silly. He never would have thought that the other party was actually a reincarnated powerhouse, and even a primal chaos samsara martial artist. Now, he finally knew why the old ancestor treated Longao as a friend when he saw him. He took a deep breath. I'll be leaving first. After Han Yun left, he immediately headed to the Forbidden Mountain. He had many things he wanted to ask the Patriarch, especially about Longao. Brother Dragon, in the end, I still underestimated you. But after you recover to your peak, can you help me become a chaotic warrior? As long as it's a chaotic life and death warrior. Big brother. Ha ha ha, alright, I won't talk anymore. You guys talk. With a burst of laughter, Han Feng quickly left. In the courtyard, only Longao and Han Ying were left. You look at me, I look at you, just like that, quietly staring at each other. Brother Dragon, it's me. Hugging Han Ying tightly, Longao didn't say anything. Han Ying didn't know what was going on and didn't continue to say anything. She just let him hug her quietly. Time slowly passed. No one knew how long had passed. Brother Dragon, what's wrong? Han Ying's voice was very gentle. She didn't know why, but she felt that there was something in Brother Dragon's heart. She could sense it. This feeling was very strange and indescribable. I'm a little tired. Han Yin's body trembled when she heard those words. She knew very well what Brother Long's words meant. She hugged Longao with heartache and didn't ask any more questions. Those words had explained everything. The next day, dusk. Devil Palace's army directly entered the first heavenly region. If it was in the past, it would be impossible. Devil Palace wouldn't dare to join hands with the Domain Lords Alliance and Pill Hall. After all, once the two super forces joined hands, Devil Palace would be courting death if they rashly entered the first heavenly region. But now, the situation was completely different. Devil Palace's army entered the first heavenly region. Under the chaotic battle between the three sides, the entire first heavenly region was in chaos. There were more and more casualties. However, ordinary warriors were dispensable to the three super forces. In any case, they needed cannon fodder in the war. Without countless sacrifices, there wouldn't be a final result. Guhao and Lightning Heavenly Region, who joined the war at the beginning, didn't notice. Since the start of the chaotic battle, Guhao and Lightning Heavenly Region gradually disappeared. The three super forces didn't put Guhao in their eyes at all. Han Wu, Mo Wutian and Sanya, the three of them basically already knew that Guhao was the reincarnation of a strong warrior, and even more so, a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist. However, compared to the three superpowers, the Thunder Heavenly Domain's foundation was simply not enough. Longao, who didn't plan to get involved in this matter, suddenly changed his mind. Now that his cultivation base had successfully broken through the primal chaos domain, what he needed to do next was to think of all ways to comprehend life and death, and break through the primal chaos life and death realm. Longao already wanted to comprehend life and death. First, he would comprehend the Tao of death from the slaughter, and then comprehend the Tao of life. In this way, he would be able to fuse life and death into the so-called reincarnation, which was the true primal chaos reincarnation. The slaughter in the chaotic battle was the best opportunity for him to comprehend the Tao of death. Such a rare opportunity, how could Longao choose to give it up so easily? In the beginning, Han Ying was certainly unwilling. After all, the three super forces were currently in a chaotic battle. No one knew how dangerous it would be. In such a great battle, the slightest carelessness might lead to eternal damnation. However, after Longao persuaded her for a long time, Han Ying finally chose to agree. It was only on the premise that Longao repeatedly assured her that he would return safely. Leaving the Pill Hall. Longao's target wasn't the Domain Lords Alliance, nor the Pill Hall, but the Devil Palace. Upon entering the battlefield, Longao began his massacre. He didn't show any mercy to the people of the Devil Palace. He killed everyone he saw. Not to mention ordinary warriors, even primal chaos warriors, as long as they weren't primal chaos life and death realm warriors, wouldn't be able to contend against Longao. The current Longao was truly standing at the peak of the martial Tao. No matter what, the primal chaos reincarnation warriors wouldn't interfere. How could Han Wu and the others take action personally? As for the primal chaos life and death realm, it was the foundation of the three super forces. Unless it was a last resort, the three super forces wouldn't send out primal chaos life and death realm warriors. In this way, Longao was the strongest person in the chaotic battle. He slaughtered without any scruples. From there, he wanted to comprehend the Tao of death. Moreover, he wanted to start by killing. He hoped that it would be easier. Chapter 3186. Invincible. Longao was completely unbridled. As long as he encountered the Devil Palace's disciples, he would kill them without hesitation. Gradually, Mo Wufeng realized that something was amiss. The person leading the army this time was Mo Wufeng, the Palace Master of Devil Palace. Palace Master, I've received news that a chaotic domain expert is massacring our Devil Palace disciples. There are countless casualties. The chaotic domain expert was basically invincible in the battle between the three factions. Could it be the Domain Lords Alliance or the Pill Hall? From the beginning to the end, Mo Wufeng had never thought that this was Longao's doing. After all, how long had it been? No matter how heaven-defying Longao's talent was, no matter how fast his cultivation speed was, it was impossible for him to achieve the chaotic domain. It was simply nonsense. How many chaotic domain elders are here this time? 2. Let them deal with it. Yes. Unless it was a last resort, the chaotic domain experts wouldn't casually take action. After all, the three super factions knew what the chaotic domain meant. But now, the situation was different. The Pill Hall and the Domain Lords Alliance had already violated the rules. If Devil Palace continued to tolerate it, it wouldn't be a good thing for them. That was exactly the case. This time, the Devil Palace had sent 2 chaotic domain experts. One was Che Wujuan, and the other was Ma He. Both of them had very high statuses in the Devil Palace. They had come to the First Sky region as a final deterrent. Devil Palace didn't plan to send 2 chaotic domain experts. But now, the situation was different. If they didn't use the chaotic domain, they would only become lambs to be slaughtered. 2 chaotic domain experts? Longao was overjoyed when he sensed the 2 approaching quickly. The more experts the Devil Palace had, the better. Like what he had said before, he would kill whoever he saw. He would not be lenient. Che Wujuan and Ma He arrived in the blink of an eye. Looking at the masked man in front of them, they were curious. Now that the 3 superpowers had already declared war on each other and shed all pretenses of cordiality, why would they still wear masks? It was simply unnecessary. Who are you? Why are you massacring our Devil Palace's people? They couldn't figure it out. They really couldn't figure it out. Could it be that he wasn't a chaotic domain expert from the Domain Lords Alliance or the Pill Hall? The 2 of them thought about it and could only come up with this explanation. They really couldn't think of a second possibility. Who I am is none of your business. Their faces instantly darkened and turned as ugly as it could be. Che Wujuan and Ma He were not only famous in the Demon Palace, but also in the entire Chaos Realm. However, due to the other party's powerful strength, the 2 of them endured it in the end. If the other party wasn't an expert from the Domain Lords Alliance or the Pill Hall, then there was no need to provoke them. It was best not to make a move if possible. Who exactly are you? Nonsense. Longao did not want to waste any more words with the 2 of them. Holding the Primal Chaos Axe in his hand, he took a big stride forward and rushed towards the 2 of them. Axe after axe, it was as if he could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. 1 against 2. If it was any other chaotic domain expert, they wouldn't choose to fight 1 against 2. Basically, they could imagine the result. In such a situation, the slightest carelessness would lead to unimaginable consequences. Only Longao, a lunatic who wasn't afraid of anything, wasn't afraid even when facing 2 chaotic domain experts at the same time. Not only did he not have the slightest fear, but he also continuously attacked the 2 of them. Primal Chaos 7th Axe, Dragon Roar Slash. Let's go. It's too late. If it was just a moment ago, the 2 of them wouldn't even put the other party in their eyes. No matter how strong the other party was, there were still 2 of them. Once they joined hands, they didn't believe that they couldn't deal with the other party. However, after a few moves, the two of them immediately had a drastic change in attitude. They never thought that the other party's strength would be so strong that he could even ignore the two of them. Gradually, the two of them were terrified. They didn't dare to continue the battle and immediately turned around to escape. But what was the result? How could Longao choose to give up so easily? With a cracking sound, the chaotic axe in his hand directly beheaded one of them. He couldn't be more dead. The remaining monk was completely scared out of his wits. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He regretted coming here. If he knew that this person was so terrifying, he wouldn't have come even if he was beaten to death. Longao could completely wipe out those in the same realm as him. With a swing of the axe, even Mach was killed. In less than a few minutes, the two dignified chaotic domain experts of the Devil Palace were directly killed. Not only that, Longao directly sent the two corpses back to the Devil Palace. The news of the two chaotic domain experts being killed had spread throughout the entire First Heavenly Domain. Not only the Devil Palace, even the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall were shocked. They didn't know what had happened. Other than the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall, was there anyone else who wanted to deal with the Devil Palace? It must be so. After all, the Devil Palace was the public enemy of the world. Everyone had the right to kill them. Many righteous path road cultivators and chaotic domain experts were also secretly dealing with the Devil Palace. However, to be able to kill two chaotic domain experts at the same time, one could imagine how powerful this rogue chaotic domain expert was. He could even be said to be the strongest under the chaotic domain. The Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall were the happiest after the two chaotic domain experts of the Devil Palace were killed. After all, chaotic domain experts weren't cabbages that could be found on the street. Even the number of chaotic domain experts that the Devil Palace had could be counted with one hand. Others didn't know that Longao had killed two chaotic domain experts, but Han Feng and Han Yin were very clear about it. This was because they had a rough understanding of Longao's strength. However, even so, they were still very shocked. They didn't expect that Longao could still kill two chaotic domain experts in a 1 versus 2 situation. This was enough to explain everything. Inside the Pill Hall, Han Yun looked for Han Yin and Han Feng anxiously, and said straightforwardly, "You two, find Longao as soon as possible." This time, he killed two chaotic domain experts of the Devil Palace. The Devil Palace definitely won't let this matter go. If my guess is right, the Devil Palace will definitely send chaotic domain experts to deal with Longao. Ever since he knew about the relationship between Longao and Han Yin, as well as his identity, Han Yun's attitude towards Longao could be said to have taken a 180-degree turn. If it was before, he wouldn't care about Longao's life or death. However, it was different now. Hearing her father's words, Han Yin naturally knew the seriousness of the matter. Chapter 3187. She would be lying if she said she wasn't worried. It didn't matter if Brother Long was the reincarnation of an expert, or if he was a primal chaos reincarnation realm ancient martial art practitioner. Brother Long had just broken through to the primal chaos domain realm. What did that mean? Han Yin was very confident in Brother Long's strength. Not to mention the low-level chaotic domain realm cultivators, Brother Long could even kill chaotic domain realm cultivators of the same level. The death of the two chaotic domain realm cultivators from Demon Palace was the best example. But now, the situation was completely different. If Demon Palace really sent out a chaotic domain realm cultivator, would Brother Long be able to resist? It was an unknown, but he definitely wouldn't be able to resist. The difference between the chaotic domain realm and the chaotic domain realm was too great. They weren't even on the same level. She didn't dare to hesitate. Han Yin immediately went to inform Brother Long. No matter what, she couldn't let anything happen to Brother Long. As for Longao, since he dared to kill two chaotic domain realm cultivators, he had already guessed that Demon Palace wouldn't let this matter rest. Chaotic Domain Realm? Not only did he not have the slightest fear, but he was also looking forward to it. If Demon Palace sent out a Chaotic Domain Realm cultivator, he would be able to resist the Chaotic Domain Realm cultivator. He might even comprehend the Tao of Life or Tao of Death. The Tao of Life and Death complemented each other. As expected. After the death of the two Chaotic Domain Realm cultivators, Mo Wufeng was completely stunned. He never thought that the two Chaotic Domain Realm cultivators would be killed so easily. Was it possible? Even if he didn't want to believe it, the truth was right in front of him. How could he not believe it? He felt helpless. More than that, he was furious. Chaotic Domain Realm cultivators weren't cabbages that could be found on the street. Even Demon Palace didn't have many Chaotic Domain Realm cultivators. One dead was one less. It would be a lie to say that he didn't feel heartache. He didn't dare to hesitate and immediately sent the news back to Demon Palace in the second sky. Inside Demon Palace, Mo Wutian's face instantly turned gloomy when he received the news. However, he wasn't surprised. After all, Demon Palace didn't only have to face the Domain Lords Alliance and Pill Hall, but also the entire Chaotic Domain Realm cultivators. If there were no accidents, the Chaotic Domain Realm cultivator who killed the two Chaotic Domain Realm cultivators of Demon Palace was definitely a Chaotic Domain Realm cultivator. Such cultivators were the most terrifying. Without any attachments, he came and went without a trace. Go inform the Black and White Elders. No matter what, they must kill this man for me. Yes, Ancestor. Aside from Wutian and Judas, the Black and White Elders were the two most powerful warriors of the Demon Palace. They were also masters of life and death, only one step away from the realm of reincarnation. If he had not encountered such a situation, Mo Wutian would not have been willing to casually send out chaotic life and death experts. Such martial artists were the foundation of the Devil Palace. Nothing must happen to him. Otherwise, the blow to the Demon Palace would be too great. The news that the Devil Palace had sent out two chaotic life and death experts had already spread throughout the primal chaos realm. Everyone already knew that a rogue cultivator had killed two chaotic domain cultivators from the Demon Palace. It had to be said that this person was truly crazy. Although many itinerant cultivators had attempted to deal with Demon Palace, they did not dare to kill the top chaos warriors of Demon Palace. Only a fool would do such a thing. Many people admired this person. Not everyone would dare to do such a thing. His strength and courage were both extraordinary. Han Yun and his father had also received the news. Until now, the three of them had not been able to contact Longao. They were simply worried to the extreme. Father, can we mobilize the power of the Pill Hall to find Brother Long's whereabouts? Han Yun could not sit still. However, the first heavenly domain was so big. It was difficult to find a single person's trace. Moreover, her father did not allow her to leave so easily. Han Yun shook his head. Father, why? Han Feng's voice was very solemn. Little Een, don't mess around. If we mobilize the power of the Pill Hall to find Brother Long, you should know what it means. At that time, everyone will know that Brother Long killed the two chaotic domain cultivators from the Demon Palace. Han Feng did not continue speaking. However, the meaning of his words was very clear. Han Yun was not a fool. How could she not know the pros and cons of this? However, if Brother Long encountered the two chaotic life and death experts from the Demon Palace, the result would be obvious. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. The more she thought about it, the more worried she became. What should she do? What should she do? What should she do? Little Een, actually, you don't have to worry too much. Since Longao was a chaotic reincarnation realm cultivator in his previous life, he definitely has a trump card. Moreover, without experiencing life and death situations, how could he grow? Father is right. Little Een, Brother Long has his own plans. It might not be a good thing for us to forcefully intervene. Therefore, instead of worrying here, why don't we wait and see how Brother Long will deal with the Demon Palace? Han did not think so. However, she did not say anything because she knew that no matter how much she said, her father and elder brother would not mobilize the power of the Pill Hall to find Brother Long's whereabouts. Firstly, the two of them should have considered that this would not be good for Brother Long. After all, if the Demon Palace knew about this, they would definitely not let Brother Long go. Secondly, if there was no accident, the real reason why her father and elder brother did not take action was because they did not want to be involved in this matter. After all, the three super forces had some kind of tacit agreement. Although it was a chaotic battle, the three super forces would not send experts above the chaotic domain to participate in the battle. After all, experts of this level were too destructive. If this matter was related to the Pill Hall, the Demon Palace would think that it was the Pill Hall that broke the rules first. At that time, the Demon Palace would also send experts of this level to participate in the battle. It was because of this that Han did not blame her father and elder brother. Since she was in that position, she had to be responsible for that position. However, she was not. Thinking until here, Han immediately left the Pill Hall after leaving. She began to search for Longao's location by herself. "Father," Littleine left by herself. "Do you want me to find her and bring her back?" Han shook his head and sighed deeply. He said helplessly, "No need. It's good to let her go alone. Without experiencing life and death situations, how could she grow? You go out with her too. Remember, be careful. Father will wait for you to grow." How could Han Feng not know what his father meant? Without any hesitation, he nodded and turned around to leave. Chapter 3188. Longao also heard that Mo Wutian had sent out 2 chaotic samsara experts. It seemed like the Devil Palace had put in a lot of effort this time. Longao was almost certain that the entire Devil Palace, including Mo Wutian, would not have thought that the person who killed the 2 chaotic domain experts of the Devil Palace would be him. In that case, if he could kill 2 chaotic samsara experts, he would be excited just thinking about it. Because of that, Longao did not have the slightest fear. Instead, he was looking forward to the arrival of the 2 chaotic samsara experts. He continued to kill. Longao was determined to deal with the Devil Palace. Anyway, he would kill as many as he could. Just him alone was enough to fight against thousands of troops. Just imagine, in the entire Devil Palace, how many people could resist Longao's crazy attacks. It was a one-sided massacre. The Devil Palace entered the first heavens with full confidence. They wanted to occupy 1/3 of the first heavens with the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall. No matter what, before this, the Devil Palace could only hide in the second heavens. They had had enough of such days. For the Devil Palace, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They must not miss it. But what was the result? They hadn't even attacked the Domain Lord's Alliance and the Pill Hall, but they were already defeated by a wandering chaos martial artist that they had never heard of. It was very depressing. The Devil Palace was extremely angry with this person. But looking at the Devil Dao experts in the first heavens, none of them could fight against this person. Take the initiative to find trouble with this person? Unless they were stupid or courting death. Otherwise, under such circumstances, they would avoid it. How could they go forward? The Devil Palace began to hide and did not dare to continue to show their faces. On the other hand, the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall continued to fight. It was a situation of either you die or I die. On the second day, the black and white elders of the Devil Palace had arrived in the first heavens. They did not sneak in, but openly. In the entire chaotic domain, besides the chaotic samsara experts, the chaotic samsara experts were the strongest. Especially when the 2 chaotic samsara experts joined forces. As long as they did not encounter any chaotic samsara experts, they were basically unmatched. Inside the chaotic Danteon, all 13 types of alien flames were cultivating, including Blackie and the other chaotic divine beasts. At this rate, whether it was the heavenly flame or the chaos divine beast, it should not be difficult for them to recover to their peak condition. Only the primal chaos flames remained. Longao had no way to deal with the flame of primal chaos, which was ranked first. Don't talk about him. Even the heavenly demonic flame didn't know about the primal chaos flame. After all, it was ranked first among the 23 heavenly flames. It was obvious what the primal chaos flame meant. No one had ever seen a primal chaos flame before. Even the second-ranked heavenly silent devil flame had never seen a primal chaos flame before. Regarding the chaos flame, Longao was very much looking forward to it. According to the heavenly demonic flame, if he wanted to subdue the other 10 heavenly flames, his greatest reliance would be the primal chaos flame. That was indeed the case. Longao started trying to control the flame of primal chaos, hoping to master it as soon as possible. Longao had a rough understanding of what the heavenly quiet devil flame had said. Previously, in the Thunder Heavenly Domain's Domain Master's manner, if not for the flame of primal chaos, he would not have been able to lock onto the positions of the 9 heavenly flames and seize them. Without the flame of primal chaos, finding the 9 heavenly flames was almost a nonsensical matter. Longao was also very much looking forward to thoroughly mastering the flame of primal chaos and sensing the remaining 10 heavenly flames. The primal chaos realm had a total of 23 heavenly flames. Presently, he had already obtained 13 of them, and he still lacked 10 more. Since ancient times until now, there had never been anyone like him who had obtained 13 mysterious flames at the same time. If news of this were to spread, there would be utterly no one who would choose to believe it. Boss, you want to deal with chaotic samsara cultivators? Is there a problem? Longao was very curious. The matter of dealing with chaotic samsara cultivators had not just been decided. When he killed the 2 chaotic domain cultivators of the Demon Palace, he had already guessed that the Demon Palace would definitely send chaotic samsara cultivators. If he was afraid, then he would not be Longao. Boss, with your current strength, you are simply not a match for chaotic samsara cultivators. Why take the risk? So that's how it was. Longao instantly understood the meaning of Little Black's words. Of course, he knew that Little Black and the others were worried about him. He smiled and said, to deal with chaotic samsara cultivators, you can't win with strength. You can only win with wisdom. Can't win with strength? Can only win with wisdom? How could he win with wisdom? Little Black, Tao Tai, and the others were very curious. They did not know what their boss wanted to do. After all, the strength of chaotic samsara cultivators was there for all to see. Dealing with chaotic samsara cultivators was not an easy matter. Longao smiled and said, later, I will arrange a formation in my chaotic Danteon. With my current level of formation, I am confident that I can use the formation's power to deal with chaotic samsara cultivators. Formation? Blackie and the rest still did not quite understand. No matter how powerful the formation was, it was not realistic for it to kill a chaotic life and death warrior. Moreover, this was under the situation of only one chaotic life and death warrior. What if the Devil Palace sent out 2 chaotic life and death warriors, or even 3 or 4? Boss, you can arrange a formation that can kill chaotic samsara cultivators? If this was really the case, then under chaotic samsara cultivators, their boss could be invincible. Just thinking about it made them excited. Longao smiled mysteriously and said, according to normal arrangements, the formation I arrange will definitely not be able to kill chaotic samsara cultivators. Ah! Hearing their boss's words, everyone was completely dumbfounded. They simply did not know what was going on with their boss. How could he rely on arrays to kill chaotic life and death martial artists and then not be able to use arrays to kill chaotic life and death martial artists? Was this possible or not? Boss, don't keep us in suspense. What method do you have to deal with chaotic samsara cultivators? Little Black and the others were also very anxious. If they could devour the power of chaotic samsara cultivators, it would be indescribably beneficial to their recovery. Especially during this period, when they were constantly devouring the power of chaotic samsara cultivators, whether it was heavenly flames or chaotic divine beasts, they were recovering very quickly. At this rate, the recovery time would be greatly reduced. I found a good place. If I arrange a formation there, I can gather the power of the entire heaven domain to deal with chaotic samsara cultivators. Not to mention one, even if there are 2 or 3 chaotic samsara cultivators, I am confident that I can kill them. Hearing their boss's words, Blackie and the others were pleasantly surprised. Chapter 3189. The place Longao was talking about was the place where the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall fought. After this period of battle, there were countless deaths and injuries here, and countless resentment had gathered. Longao's intention was actually very simple. He wanted to use the endless resentment here to set up a new formation to deal with the chaotic life and death realm warrior. 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation. All along, Longao had been constantly upgrading the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation, and this time it could come in handy. But just in case, Longao even fused all 13 kinds of strange flames into the formation. The black and white elders entered the first sky and immediately began to look for the rogue cultivator who was dealing with the Devil Palace. It was just that if the other party didn't take the initiative to appear, it wouldn't be easy to find traces of this person. After Hanin left the Pill Hall, she immediately began to look for Longao's traces everywhere, but she couldn't find him. The more it was like this, the more worried she was. Hanin was very clear what a chaotic life and death realm warrior meant. Too powerful. She could almost be sure that the Devil Palace definitely wouldn't send just one chaotic life and death realm warrior just in case. It was very likely that there would be 2. Sure enough, after receiving the news, the Devil Palace actually sent 2 chaotic life and death realm warriors, and they were the legendary black and white elders. Hanin only knew about the 2 of them in legends and had never seen the real black and white elders. In the legends, the black and white elders of the Devil Palace had already broken through the chaotic life and death realm more than 10,000 years ago. They were only one step away from officially breaking through the chaotic reincarnation realm. However, this step wasn't something everyone could achieve. Even the black and white elders were no exception. After spending 10,000 years, the black and white elders didn't succeed in breaking through the chaotic life and death realm. Even so, the black and white elders were the strongest existences under the chaotic reincarnation realm. Once the 2 of them joined forces to deal with Longao, it was obvious what it meant. The more she thought about it, the more afraid she became. The more she thought about it, the more worried she became. It was precisely because of this. Hanin couldn't wait to find Longao immediately. However, the more she wanted to do so, the more difficult it was. After all, the first sky was too big. 3 months later, Longao upgraded the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation again and hoped to use the special environment here to kill the chaotic life and death realm warrior. Actually, Longao did not have much confidence in being able to kill a chaotic samsara martial artist, especially when facing an unknown chaotic samsara martial artist. If he could really kill a chaotic life and death realm martial artist, then under the chaotic samsara, he would be able to do whatever he wanted. Just thinking about it made him excited. Just as Longao was about to make his move, his expression suddenly changed, and then he revealed a look of surprise. Sensing the weak aura of the Yuan spirit in front of him, his entire body began to tremble. Ling Roy. Longao had too much guilt and self-blame towards this woman. It was just that he had forcefully suppressed the guilt and self-blame in his heart all these years. Longao would never have thought that he would meet Ling Roy's primordial spirit here. How could this be? He could not figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. With a grab, a ball of green light entered his chaotic dantian. Roy, do you still remember me? There was no reaction. Longao had already sensed that there was something wrong with Ling Roy's primordial spirit. He was just hoping that Ling Roy's primordial spirit would be fine. Now it seemed that it was just as he had guessed. Ling Roy's primordial spirit had lost its consciousness. It would be 100 times more difficult for her to recover compared to Sister Yun and Channer. Brother Long, if it's possible, you should save Sister Roy. She is also a pitiful person. How could Yunxi not know about the relationship between Longao and Ling Roy? She was helpless, but more than that, she admired him. Because she was very clear that if it were not for Longao, the Ling family, including Ling Roy, would not have suffered such a disaster. At this time, Yun Qian also said, Sister Roy is also a pitiful person. Brother Ao, you should save her. If it was possible, how could he not want to save her? He wanted to save Roy more than anyone else. But the current situation was too bad for Ling Roy. Even he did not know what was going on with Roy. He did not know where to start. Longao's face was very gloomy, and it was as ugly as it could be. In the end, Longao sighed deeply and said helplessly, Sister Yun, Xiao Qian, according to my guess, if there were no accidents, Roy should have been completely destroyed. I don't know why, but her primordial spirit escaped. But she should have lost her consciousness. If she wants to be like you, she must find her consciousness. But now, Yun Shi and Yun Qian existed in the state of primordial spirit. If there was a chance in the future, they would be able to be reborn. Especially now, the two of them were cultivating beside the chaos tree. Their cultivation speed was very fast. After so many years, the two of them had already become ultimate gods. If this continued, they might be able to become chaos gods in the future. Of course, the two of them knew what Longao meant. They were helpless. They definitely did not have any solution. The most important thing was to see if Longao had a solution. Longao looked at Xiao He and the others in front of him and asked, Do you have a solution? No matter what, let Roy's primordial spirit regain her consciousness first. Otherwise, even with the help of the chaos tree, she would not be able to be reborn in the future. Longao wanted to say that even if she could be reborn, she would probably be an idiot in the future. Even if he was willing to be reborn, Roy would definitely not be willing to be reborn. Xiao He and the others looked at each other. They could see endless helplessness from their faces. The situation of a primordial spirit losing its consciousness was very bad. Once such a situation occurred, they could choose to give up immediately. However, Xiao He and the others knew their boss's character very well. Especially when facing a woman like Ling Roy, their boss would not choose to give up. It was just that they had no idea what had happened to Ling Roy. The more they thought about it, the more helpless they felt. The more they thought about it, the more helpless they felt. What could they do to help their boss to regain Ling Roy's consciousness? Looking at the expressions on their faces, Longao already knew that they did not know what to do. It was extremely troublesome. They had to think of a solution by themselves. But after thinking about it, they could not think of a good way to help Ling Roy. At this moment, he spoke. The Golden by Beast said, Boss, I can help you to take a look. But whether it will succeed, I am not 100% sure. Longao, who was already feeling hopeless, suddenly heard the Golden by Beast's words. He suddenly felt happy and could not wait to say, It's okay. Just try it. I'll leave it to you. Chapter 3190. Longao was very nervous. He did not know if the Golden Lion Beast could do it. However, the Golden Lion Beast was the only hope in this situation. Anyway, he and Blackie could not do anything about it. The Golden Lion Beast's face was also very serious. He also knew that his boss was very nervous about the primordial spirit. The third eye in the middle of the golden lion beast's eyebrows opened slowly and a ray of black light was shot out. The black light was very weak and it gently wrapped around Lingruo's primordial spirit. Everyone was very nervous. They did not know if the golden lion beast could succeed. Time passed by slowly. About a few hours later, the golden lion beast's face was very pale. Its body even started to tremble. The third eye closed again as it retrieved the black light. "Golden lion, how are you?" He was very touched. Longao certainly knew that the golden lion beast had used up the power of the primordial spirit because of him. Otherwise, the golden lion beast would not even look at an ordinary person. Why would it go through so much trouble? After taking a deep breath, the golden lion beast smiled and said, "I am fine, boss. The situation is not good." "What happened?" Hearing the golden lion beast's words, Longao's heart suddenly sank. It seemed that the situation was much worse than what he had thought. The golden lion beast's face was also very serious. He said, "Boss, I used the Eye of Destruction just now to check the primordial spirit's condition. If I am not wrong, golden lion beast, if you have something to say, just say it." "Boss, according to my guess, the primordial spirit should be imprisoned by someone." So, the golden lion beast did not continue speaking. However, the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning of the golden lion beast's words? His face was extremely gloomy. Who sealed Lingruo's primordial spirit? It was obviously intentional. Lingruo had ended up like this because of him. So, no matter what, he had to help her recover her primordial spirit. "Do you know who it is?" "Yes." "Ah." Longao was just asking casually. After all, no matter how powerful the golden lion beast's Eye of Destruction was, it could not know everything. But the result? Longao had never thought that the golden Eye divine beast would actually know about this matter. How could he not be excited? He was only afraid that he didn't know. Once he knew, everything would be easier. "Who is Jinni?" Longao was very impatient, and his body released endless anger and killing intent. No matter who the other party was, he would not let them go. To actually do such a thing to a woman, it was simply shameless to the extreme. He suppressed the anger and killing intent in his heart. Nangongyin. Hearing Nangongyan's name, Longao's killing intent erupted to the extreme. Even if you beat him to death, he would never have thought that the person who would do such a thing would be Nangongyin. In the past, Longao didn't know whether Nangongyin was a friend or a foe, but regardless of whether he was a friend or foe, he only had one thing to follow. If others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. If others offended him, he would return the favor. But now, Nangongyin dared to treat Lingruo like that. He must be an enemy. If it had been anyone else facing a primal chaos samsara martialist, especially for an ant-like existence, they would definitely not have fought against the primal chaos samsara martialist. There was no doubt about it. Only Longao. Not to mention Nangongyin, even if he faced all the primal chaos samsara martialists, he would do what he had to do. Even if he knew that there was a slim chance of survival, he would still not hesitate. This was Longao. This was the fearless Longao. This was the Longao who could create the 9-revolution primal chaos technique. This was the trash in everyone's eyes, the Longao who had gone through countless life and death situations to reach where he was now. This was the only primal chaos samsara martialist in the entire primal chaos realm, the only one who had the most hope of attaining the Tao. "Jinan, can you lock onto Nangongyan's position?" "Boss, although I don't know what sort of grudge there is between you and Nangongyin, I've dealt with him before. He's a very treacherous person. My guess is definitely correct. He's doing this in order to deliberately bait you. If you were to go and find him, wouldn't you fall into his trap?" "Boss, Jinan is right. In your current situation, it is not suitable for you to face him head-on. So, we should think about how to deal with Nandong. Everyone did not want their boss to act rashly. Who knew what kind of tricks Nandong was playing? If something happened to their boss, they would not even have the chance to regret it. Longao knew about everyone's worries. If this matter was not solved, Ling Ruo's primordial spirit would always be like this. Jinan, can you lock onto Nandong's position? Everyone knew their big brother's character. Once he had decided on something, he would not change his mind. Jinan sighed deeply and said, if it was under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to lock onto Nandong's position. But the situation is different now. As long as I can lock onto Nandong's position according to his primordial spirit. Begin. The golden by divine beast seemed to want to say something, but he swallowed his words. He knew that no matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to stop his boss. As for Yu Shi and Channer, they did not try to persuade him. Because they knew that Ling Ruo was a good girl. This was what Longao owed her. No matter whether they could be together in the future, at least they should help Ling Ruo to get through this difficult time. Brother Ao, be careful. Brother Long, be careful. Longao nodded heavily and said with a smile, you must have confidence in me. I was not afraid of anyone in the past. In this life, I will not be afraid of anyone. Nandong is obviously targeting me this time. If I don't face him, I am afraid that he will become worse in the future. Longao also wanted to see what Nandong's intentions were. If there was no special reason, then unless Nandong's brain was flooded with water, why would he suddenly want to deal with him? This was simply nonsense. Longao's intuition told him that there must be something fishy about this matter. But no one could guess what the reason was. Perhaps only when he saw Nandong personally would he know. Jinan opened his third eye again. Black light shrouded Ling Ruo's primordial spirit. Just like that, he began to sense quietly. The two chaos experts of Devil Palace, Black and White, had been trying their best to hunt down the two chaos experts of Devil Palace ever since they entered the first heavenly domain. However, this person seemed to know that Devil Palace would target him and directly chose to disappear. Chapter 3191. 7 days later. The Golden Lion finally locked onto Nandong's location. Boss, are you really going? Boss, please think twice. Boss, don't be rash. Boss, the big picture is more important. All the Chaos Divine Beasts didn't approve of Longao going to find Nandong, because it was clear that Nandong was doing it on purpose. Who knew what was going on? One could never be too careful. If Nandong was already a Chaos Reincarnation Realm expert, then it would be troublesome if their boss went there rashly. Go? Or not? Longao had already thought about this question. No matter what, he had to go, regardless of whether Nandong was doing it on purpose or not. Let's go. Seeing their boss's expression, all the Chaos Divine Beasts knew that their boss had already made up his mind. Thus, the Golden Lion Divine Beast told Longao the exact location of Nandong. After hearing it, Longao's face became extremely gloomy. It's really Heaven Valley. Others didn't know about Heaven Valley, but how could Longao not know? Heaven Valley was the place where Nandong cultivated in seclusion. It was very hidden and could be considered one of the cultivation holy lands in the Chaos world. However, Nandong wasn't in Heaven Valley under normal circumstances. It was because of this that Longao didn't expect Nandong to really be in Heaven Valley. After leaving the Chaos Dantian, Longao rushed to Heaven Valley with his fastest speed. However, the battle outside had escalated again. The Domain Lords Alliance, Pill Hall, and Devil Palace were crazily fighting, causing countless casualties and blood to flow like a river. The three super forces seemed to have made up their minds. One of them had to emerge victorious and dominate the chaotic realm before they were willing to let the matter rest. Longao, who had just appeared, had already heard that the two Chaos Reincarnation Realm experts of Devil Palace were searching for him with all their strength. If he left this place, it was basically impossible to deal with the two Chaos Reincarnation Realm experts. Only in this place could there be hope. But now, he sighed deeply in his heart. Originally, he wanted to borrow the 9 Heavens 10 Earths killing formation to kill the two Chaos Reincarnation Realm experts of Devil Palace. But now, in order to find Nandong-yin, Longao knew that he couldn't do it this time. He felt helpless in his heart. If he missed this opportunity, who knew if there would be a next time? Thus, he left. The chaotic war in the first High Heaven domain was getting more and more intense. The flames of war spread throughout the entire primal chaos realms, 99 heavens. On the other hand, Guhao. Ever since the three superpowers started fighting, Guhao seemed to have disappeared, and did not participate in the battle between the three superpowers at all. Heaven Valley was not located in any of the heavenly regions. In the chaotic region between the 5th and 6th heavens, there is a forbidden area, the so-called Sky Valley. Longao looked at the huge valley in front of him. He could clearly sense that the valley was surrounded by air currents. Boss, have you really thought it through? This is their territory. Maybe Nandong-yin has already set up all kinds of traps and is waiting for Boss. Boss, why don't we retreat first? We'll have a better chance of winning when we've recovered to our peak. How could Longao not know what Xiao He and the others meant? Now that things had come to this, there was no turning back. Without saying anything, Longao took a step forward and disappeared from where he stood, instantly entering the Heaven Valley. Within Heaven Valley, black mist lingered everywhere, and traces of black air currents were like lightning. With 120% concentration, Longao carefully walked towards the deepest part of Heaven Valley step by step. All of a sudden, countless airflow condensed into sharp swords, and the sharp swords began to attack Longao crazily. Sword shadows were everywhere in all directions. At the beginning, Longao was not sure whether Nandong-yin was an enemy or a friend, but now, he was sure that Nandong-yin wanted to deal with him. He couldn't figure out why Nandong-yin wanted to deal with him. It was a bit unreasonable. After all, Nandong-yin also wanted to rely on himself to succeed in reaching the Tao-confirming realm. There shouldn't be any problem with this. But what was the reason? If he wanted to know the reason, he had to find Nandong-yin first. Nandong-yin, come out. The surrounding swords couldn't hurt Longao at all. But just then, the surrounding valleys began to change, and Longao appeared on the peak of a mountain. Longao, your recovery speed is beyond my expectations. It's hard to imagine that you could grow to the Chaos Realm in such a short period of time. Seems like it won't be long before you'll be able to return to your peak Chaos Reincarnation state. Longao's face was cold as he asked, I want to know what you mean by this. This essence spirit is very useful to me, so I can't hand it over to you. As for why I want to deal with you, Longao, you should know in your heart. 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra? Other than this possibility, Longao could not figure out why Nandong-yin would want to deal with him for no reason. This was utter nonsense. Back then, there were many Chaos Reincarnation State martial artists who wanted to obtain the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra that he had created himself. But none of them had succeeded. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Laughing out into the skies, Nandong-yin laughed out, Longao, I have to admit that you are indeed the most talented person in the entire Chaos world. To think that you could create the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra yourself. But back then, you were still lacking by a single step, and did not succeed in proving your Tao. Therefore, I wish for you to impart the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra to me so that I can give it a try and see if I can prove my Tao with the help of the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. Just as he had expected, Longao's face darkened. This Nandong-yin was truly cunning. To think that he would do everything for the sake of the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. Laughing coldly, he asked coldly, Nandong-yin, do you really think that I'll impart the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra to you? This was something that was practically impossible. Not in the past, and definitely not in this lifetime. Longao was clear that the 9-revolution chaos mantra was a skill that was created according to one's own condition. Because of this, no matter who the 9-revolution chaos mantra was imparted to, it would be nothing but nonsense. No one would be able to cultivate it successfully. Ha ha ha. Longao, if it were in the past, you would definitely not have done it. But now. A green light appeared in the hands of Nandongyin. This was Lingruo's essence spirit. This was the complete essence spirit. As for the essence spirit in Longao's hands, it was just an empty shell. Suppressing the rage and killing intent in his heart, Longao asked coldly, "What do you want?" "I've already said that if you hand over the 9-revolution chaos mantra, I'll let go of Lingruo's essence spirit. Otherwise, I'll suppress her within the Heaven Valley. You should know the consequences of that." Ha ha ha. Chapter 3192. Endless Rage. But before he got his hands on Lingruo's essence spirit, he did not dare to strike out casually. If anything were to happen to Lingruo's essence spirit, he would not even have the chance to regret it. What should he do? He was extremely wary. Looking at the other party's silence, Nandongyin laughed out, "Longao, there's no harm in you handing over the 9-revolving chaos mantra. As long as I can attain my Tao successfully, I'll definitely help you. How about that? Hand it over? Or not? Nandongyin, if anything were to happen to Lingruo's essence spirit, I'll personally kill you in the future. Remember, no matter where you run to, I'll never let you off." Nandongyin was initially filled with confidence. But upon hearing Longao's words, his face turned grim. It was as ugly as it could get. As for whether Lingruo's essence spirit could control Longao, Nandongyin did not have full confidence in his heart. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. He laughed out maniacally. Looking at Longao coldly, Nandongyin said coldly, "Since that's the case, don't blame me for not going easy on you." The essence spirit in his hands suddenly let out a series of tragic cries. "You're courting death." Longao could no longer suppress the rage in his heart. His killing intent surged through the 9 heavens. Of course, he could hear that the cries coming from the essence spirit were coming from Lingruo. The more it was so, the more guilty Longao felt. The more he blamed himself. If not for him, Lingruo would not have ended up in such a state. "If I hand over the 9-revolving chaos mantra, will you really let go of Lingruo's essence spirit?" "That's right. You should know that this essence spirit is of no use to me at all. Since that's the case, goodbye." With that, Longao turned around and disappeared without a trace. Huh. Looking at the disappearing figure of Longao, Nandongyin was a little confused. He had thought that Longao would definitely hand over the 9-revolving chaos mantra. To think that he would choose to leave all of a sudden. Could he have made a mistake? Clairvoyant, clairvoyant, how dare you lie to me? Nandongyin, trust me. Longao is only hiding in the primal chaos palace. He definitely won't give up so easily. After entering his primal chaos Dantian region, Longao could sense Master God Diviner's aura, and his expression turned even grimmer. It seemed that the God Diviner and Nandongyin had joined hands to deal with him. No wonder it was like this. Nandongyin's complexion was very gloomy. He didn't have the slightest confidence that Longao would hand over the 9 revolutions chaos formula. However, he wasn't willing to give up since the divine mathematician was so confident. What should we do now? Humph. Yibu snorted coldly and said in an extremely gloomy voice, "Since Longao is not willing to exchange, we will refine his nascent divinity." After refining the primordial spirit, one would never be able to reincarnate. Yibu and Nandongyin both laughed. Inside the chaotic Dantian, Longao's face was gloomy. Was he really going to watch Lingruo's primordial spirit being refined by the two of them? It was impossible. But handing over the 9 revolutions chaos formula was way too ridiculous. This time around, the God Diviner and Nangong were clearly prepared. In fact, Longao suspected that even if he handed over the 9 revolutions chaos formula, the two of them wouldn't let him off, let alone Ling Ruo's nascent divinity. By then, he wouldn't even have a chance to regret. What should he do? Boss, you must stay calm and not act rashly. Otherwise, not only will you not be able to save the nascent divinity, you might even lose more than you gain. How could Longao not understand the meaning of Tao Tai's words? Longao did not take action immediately. This was because the situation was extremely disadvantageous for him. If he wasn't careful, things would get even more troublesome. Within the Heaven Valley, Nangong and the other two had found an extremely creepy place. This was the place with the densest ominous qi in the entire Heaven Valley. Not only that, the two of them had even set up a formation to absorb the ominous qi madly. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Longao, if you don't hand over the 9 revolutions chaos formula, I'll start cultivating the nascent divinity. Remember, don't regret this. The moment the two of them were done with their words, Longao's figure had already appeared. His chaos axe was slamming down towards the three of them. One blow after another, it was like a torrential downpour. Nangong and the God Diviner were already chaos life and death martial artists. They were just a step away from returning to their peak chaos reincarnation state. Therefore, the two of them were not afraid of Longao at all. Yi Dugu was the only exception. Even though he had the full support of the God Diviner and his cultivation state was as fast as lightning, he had only just reached conferred pinnacle. He had yet to comprehend any energy grid, let alone the so-called chaos realm. Yi Dugu had not taken Longao seriously at all. After all, the other party's cultivation speed was definitely not as fast as his. But right now, sensing the horrifying power that was being released by the other party, Yi Dugu was scared silly. The other party's strength was way beyond his expectations. Out of the 6 chaos cultivation states, he was only at chaos conferred pinnacle. As for the other party, he was already at chaos realm, just a step away from being at the same level as his father. If that was the case, it was hard to imagine that Longao's cultivation speed was way too sick. If not for Yibu's timely rescue, Yi Dugu would have been killed by Longao with just this move alone. Longao, congratulations on breaking through to Chaos Realm. Seems like your 9 revolutions chaos formula is pretty strong indeed. Brother Nangong had already said that as long as you hand over the 9 revolutions chaos formula, not only will the grudges between us be written off, we can even return this nascent divinity to you. Otherwise, not only will your nascent divinity be cultivated, you will die as well. Even your entire family will be wiped out. It was a threat, a blatant threat. If it were someone else, Longao wouldn't even spare them a glance. However, the situation between the two was different. Both of them were already chaos life and death realm experts. Who knew when they would break through to their peak state? If the two of them were to locate Soaring Dragon Star, then the consequences would be unimaginable. However, things had already come to this point. If he chose to compromise, the two of them might not let him and his family off. Longao, do you think it's possible for you to keep the 9 revolutions chaos formula for yourself? One had to admit that the two of them were really shameless. After all, the 9 revolutions chaos formula was created by Longao himself. It had nothing to do with the two of them. However, the two of them were acting as if the 9 revolutions chaos formula created by Longao belonged to them. Longao sneered. How could he not know what the two of them were thinking? However, under such circumstances, he couldn't let the two of them go head-on. He wasn't worried about himself, but Ling Ruo's safety. After all, the nascent divinity was in their hands. If the two of them really refined Ling Ruo's nascent divinity, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.